Hey, what's up? We got a video for you. Check it out.
Oh no.
Cypress Hill hits from the bong playing in the background.
Jeez.
Is that a bong?
It's a McDouble, dude.
The Ronald McDonald face.
Is he at work? So many questions.
Yeah. How does it go through the one way?
I wouldn't see he's the type that works
Do you think he
out, though.
tunneled a
I feel like a
hole
vape is
through with
in
his
there.
finger?
This guy is just... Oh my... Wait! Oh.
What, is the whole McNugget crew in there?
But isn't that Burger King? Or isn't that
I think it's a little
the
conflicting.
KFC guy? Yeah, well, what are they trying to advertise here?
That's a pretty weird video.
I
huh?
have mixed feelings of what I want to eat right now.
Hey,
up,
welcome
y'all?
to episode McDouble of the Ape Audio Podcast. We're sitting down with Josh Ligaya.
Yo.
Yo,
Hey, dude.
what's up? He said
going
my
on?
last name right.
Nice.
I am impressed.
Cool.
He's
How
been
do people
stressing
normally
about
say it? Ligia?
So Ligaya is
Okay.
one of them. Grew up with that one for a while, but I mean I'm used to it. The band calls me Ligaya,
Nice, like the band.
like the band, yeah. And then Aaron just calls me like Ligay. I mean,
Is that French?
yeah, it could be French, but no,
Cool.
it's all in good fun.
So you are the guitarist of Auras.
With also doing some cleans.
Yes.
Nice,
Yeah.
sexy, sensual cleans.
I try.
Well, you did an amazing job.
Yeah,
Let
I'm
me
trying to
tell you.
sound sexy, but you know, it's metal, so.
Okay. Well, you guys want to catch up for a second? How you guys
Yeah.
been since the last time we
I mean,
chatted?
I'm good. I mean, I've been just whittling away at this, getting this video out for the Choose Your Own Fest.
Hell
and
yeah.
We've all
Oh,
been
yeah.
kind of
We went out and did a bunch of interviews on 420,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
and everyone looks marvelously wrecked. So we're gonna make a little video, and hopefully it'll be out next week for you guys to check out.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Why don't you angle that mic a little better there, Christian?
I don't know what to do with it. Evan said it sounded fine.
All right, man. That's
See, he gave me the thumbs up.
okay.
Yeah.
That's all
The
good.
A-OK.
Yeah.
How are you, Christian?
I'm good. You want to hear something funny?
Yes.
So I've been
I would
playing
love
this
to.
this video game called Torchlight 2
Torchlight 2 on
Uh-huh.
what? PC?
PC.
Is
It's
it like
like
a
a
Steam thing?
Diablo knockoff. So my girlfriend approached me and she was like, "Hey, do you want to play Torchlight 2?" And I said, "Yeah, it's a Diablo knockoff. Remember Diablo, that game you said you never want to play because it looks like shit?" And she was like, "Yeah, this one looks fun." And I said, it looks exactly the same. Put it side by side. It looks exactly the same. For some reason, she's totally fine playing this one. And I don't really understand it.
Is it good?
Hell yeah, it's a Diablo knockoff.
Oh, it's just a straight up Diablo knockoff.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like
It's just
everything.
it's like a little more cartoony, but that's about
Okay.
it.
I've never really played Diablo. I had a
Really?
lot of friends that are like super into it, but I just never really got into it. Like, is it like WoW? Is it like kind of like
No,
that?
so
or-
it's like a top down. You control like one character, and you head into dungeons and you kill demons and shit like that.
That's-
Like
that's pretty
I guess
cool.
it's like similar to WoW in the sense that you get like loot from like
right.
killing monsters.
So
or
like
whatever.
RuneScape? Am I like on the same lines?
Yeah,
here?
it's closer to RuneScape.
I used to
than it is
rock
WoW.
RuneScape back in the day.
Nice,
Yeah,
yo.
I was
Shit on
addicted.
Shout
It
out
was bad.
Zezima.
Played that shit on mobile.
Yo, they have it on mobile
I know.
now.
I fucking love it.
but it like heats up my phone and
You're both.
I don't know, it's just weird to like tap. I don't know, I couldn't get used to it, and I spent so much time when I was younger and I built up to get like some good stuff, and then I was just like, oh wait, I have to start from the beginning. Oh, I don't have time.
Do you want to hear the most crushing RuneScape story?
Yes, of
So
course.
I
This better be
probably
crushing.
sorry.
This better be crushing.
Oh, it's fucking devastating for me. So I probably played RuneScape from the time I was like 9 years old until I was
Yep.
like 15, 16, I would say.
Yep.
Now, I had one character that whole time. This dude was beasted out. Tons of fucking money. All my levels maxed out. Just an absolute beast, right? So if you go into dungeons and you fucking die, you lose like everything except like 1 gold, 1 armor piece, and like some other random thing, if I remember correctly. So I was wandering around with all my satchels of gold completely full.
Why were
Didn't
you
put that
doing
shit so you could flaunt it. So you could just drop.
I don't feel bad.
You could just drop millions of gold.
First mistake.
Now listen
I don't
to
feel
this.
bad for you
Listen
at
to
all.
this. So it probably took me that whole amount of time that I was playing to accumulate like this much gold, right? Millions of gold. Millions. I could buy anything.
Are you
So
sure?
Yes. I go into this fucking dungeon. My mom goes, yo, you got a fucking vacuum. Your room's fucking disgusting. So I'm like, okay. I run over and I grab the vacuum, but I didn't log out. And some big ass red bitch in the game just sliced me up and I fucking died and everything dropped out. And I came back to my computer and I just looked at my character with all of my years of progress lost.
No.
And I turned into a man that second. I was like, I can never go back. And things will never be the same after this
A
day.
broke man.
That's no, that everyone learns the hard way in RuneScape. I can't, like, do you lose all your stuff if you die in like the normal world? Because I know that there was like a PvP world where you would lose all your stuff.
Yeah, so I was in like some dungeon and I think it had the same rules as like the PvP area.
Oh, yeah. See, I did the exact same thing. I was like all looted up, probably not as rich as this guy, but I just like go in that one spot where, you know, you could fight other players, and I didn't realize like you would lose everything, and yeah, you learn the hard way, and you get even more addicted.
Wow, these
after
are
that.
such devastating RuneScape stories. I've never even played.
It's
Really? It was like a cultural phenomenon, dude.
For some reason I was just like obsessed with collecting bones and selling it.
Yeah, I was selling bones and cowhides.
And
all
I was
the
just like,
time.
why is everyone buying all the, like, they want the bones? And I was just like, cool. And I was like, whatever,
You
I'll
can have
just
all
do
these
this.
bones.
And like my sister at the time, like we shared the same computer, she would look at it and be like, I don't understand the appeal. And it's like, I still do it. It has consumed me.
Yeah, actually,
It's-
I had friends who like. So there's games now that are even weirder than that. Like you can play like European Truck Simulator, and you can like
Oh.
literally do a job on your computer for fun, like after work. It's very weird.
that is strange. And they have playthroughs of that. Like
That's mental. Who's
walkthroughs.
watching that?
Me, apparently. It came up on my I got in the rabbit hole of YouTube and I was like, what is this? And I
Holy
watched
shit.
the entire thing and I was like, I thought something was gonna happen, but nothing.
Can you even do a speed run on those?
No. Okay,
No.
so the one I'm talking about, European Truck Simulator. It's like a massively multiplayer game as well. So there's like other truckers like running routes around you. And apparently, like, a traffic jam happened, like, 2 years ago that took, like, 3 days to, like, get everybody moving again. And it was, like, this, like, really huge thing on Reddit where everyone was, like, freaking out. And they're, like, watching a live stream of this fucking traffic jam in this made-up game.
Wow. And that's like the 401 every day. Like,
Super weird, man.
super weird.
That is very fucking weird.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, I want to meet the kind of person who plays those games. Like,
I feel like you
just a
would play
complete
that game.
psychopath. I would never play that shit,
Probably
man.
doesn't drive.
Yeah. What if it was like a logistics trucker and they just went home to truck some more?
Then
It's passion.
They get to
that
live out
is
their
that is
truck
not a
fantasy.
job. That is a passion.
Yeah.
That is a-
That is an absolute destined thing to do in your life.
We got some other videos. You want to check them out?
Of course.
They're kind of funny.
I'm
So
down.
I believe the top one might be from a Vine of yours.
Oh no.
yeah, we're gonna take it back here.
Yeah.
I wondered if this was gonna come up. Oh, there's that creepy clown. Oh man. Hell yeah. Damn, you dug that up.
Holy fuck.
I dug up something even deeper than this, but I was kind of wondering if your brother's meteoric rise to Vine fame set you on the path to do something completely opposite of Vine and make some absolutely crushing metal.
So funny story. He was like one of the first people. First of all, he's my cousin.
Oh, my bad.
No, trust me. It is
Unbelievable.
a common thing to think we're brothers. We're basically brothers. We grew up together and we're super close. He started out on Vine just in his parking garage. That's what he used to do on the weekends. He used to just like he got real bored, and of course like apps were blowing up, and Vine just came up and he was just doing that, and he kind of just blew up from there. I don't think that like made me want to go a different direction or anything like that. But yeah, he kind of inspired me because we were living together. That was our place.
Okay,
And
cool.
I actually saw this like firsthand, just him growing as a social media influencer. And Vine was just one of those things that was trending, and it just blew up like crazy. So one day I had this idea I actually came across. And I was like, hey man, do you think like this is funny? And he thought it was hilarious. And honestly, it only took like a couple revines, and it just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, and it was hilarious. I didn't expect that. I think it got to like 3 million views or something.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
it was something ridiculous. I actually ended up on some sort of TV show where they kind of went through
Like a
funny
clip show?
It was a clip
Yeah.
show, but it was actually on TV. It wasn't like on YouTube.
That's
so
interesting.
Oh, nice.
yeah,
That's legit.
yeah. So they like paid me for the video, which is interesting.
Oh, cool.
But
Damn,
I'm
that's
like, this,
crazy.
it's literally 6 seconds. Like,
Go listen to my band, please.
Yeah,
Stop watching
yeah.
this video.
yeah. So that's funny that you brought that up. I totally forgot about that.
Are you a user of any of the Vine revivals like
TikTok.
TikTok and
What's that?
I don't know. It's like this Vine revival TikTok.
Yeah, I think they're like 12-second videos instead.
Wait, so
Yeah.
is TikTok like a new app?
yeah,
and
basically.
it's trying to.
I think
guess be
it's
the-
huge in Asia, and it's like sort of like coming here now.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Makes me super uncomfortable.
It just
all
sounds
the
like
videos.
Instagram because like
Yeah.
I think Vine kind of died out because Instagram and Facebook and pretty much every other app started doing the same thing.
Yeah.
No, dude, Twitter bought it and they shut it down.
shut it
Yeah, yeah.
down.
Like Vine was like huge, right?
Yeah.
And Twitter bought it because they saw it as competition, and then they just closed it instead of like integrating it into their platform.
Interesting.
They
Oh,
just
Pull up
shut
some
the whole
TikTok
thing down.
videos.
There was like a huge like uproar about it.
Yeah.
I'm sure your cousin was probably pissed.
Well, I mean, he's actually still doing really well on other social media.
Yeah, I saw.
like outlets. So like, if anything, it just kind of skyrocketed his
True.
persona.
Gave him that
online.
jumping off point.
Yeah, exactly. And like his humor and our humor is basically in the realm of 6 seconds. Like, you know, like it's not like he'll go up on stage and he'll do like a comedy show. Like 6 seconds with this guy, like you're dying laughing.
Yeah, I was checking out your podcast that you did with Vargas.
Yeah, Vargas, my boy. Shout out to
Oh
Vargas.
my god, you and your fucking cousin had me cracking up
Oh
so
man.
hard, dude.
Oh, that was old. That
Oh,
was like,
yeah, it
'cause
was
we were in the
ancient,
same
ancient.
we were in the same podcast together. Yeah.
Yeah,
times.
I wanted to do some deep digging to see if I could find any funny things to bring up.
Yeah. Well, that's one of them. Yeah. Sure.
So we got one other video. This is more related to you, I suppose. This
I'm
is from
worried.
a family Christmas talent show.
Oh no. Oh no.
Do you know what this is?
Yeah, I do. How did you find this? Who uploaded this? Oh, my brother-in-law.
Now I have a question about this. I was informed a couple months ago that talent shows in like Asian families are like really popular
Oh.
thing to like happen.
Oh, I got paid.
Okay.
I got paid to do that.
What?
Really?
Yeah, so like fam jams, especially for Filipino fam jams in my family, is if you do some sort of show, whether it's singing or playing, they give you money.
Oh, okay, that's dope.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But
So
do they
like,
just bring it
How
on,
much you
like,
get
right away?
paid for
They're
this
like-
gig?
Yeah.
I can't remember, but it
Yeah.
at that point anything
Are
was
they covering
cool.
the overhead?
Yeah, so yeah, like actually me and Ray, we would actually
Oh damn!
yeah,
Well, you
look
got a
look
lot
at
of
the
support.
turnout, you know
Oh,
what I mean?
wow,
And look,
yeah.
they're into it.
Man.
They're right into
My
it.
sister, she's like, they're right into it. And we used to, you know, we would get together and just play a song.
Would this be
Just
your
for the
first
dollar.
guitar here?
My second one that I don't even have anymore.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
when I was like super into like Trivium and
just,
Bullet
like,
for My
shredding.
Valentine. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was back when I was like all about the shred, like faster the better.
Right.
Thanks
right.
for bringing that up, though. I'm like,
That's awesome, dude. Your family's super supportive. That's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
They-
I saw
actually,
this
they
and I'm
really
like,
are.
nothing like this has ever went down
Yeah.
at any of my family.
and it's not like I wanted to do it. They were just like, oh, like you play guitar, like can you just do something? Like sure. And then someone filmed it. And put
Yeah,
it
and the
on
description
YouTube.
is like, Josh is our little rock star.
Yeah.
Nice.
Isn't that
awesome.
rock and roll superstar?
Rock and roll.
Josh
superstar.
wins the family Christmas talent show hands down. That's even damn.
I don't even think it was a competition. I think
So there was no other acts that went on?
no, there were, but it wasn't like a comp. I think everyone got paid. Yeah.
What were the other acts? Like, who was the runner-up?
I think it was like piano.
Did somebody like pull their finger off? Like,
Yeah, I think it was like one of I think the other one was just like playing piano.
Cool,
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Some actually like really nice and cool. cool.
Neat. Yeah, I was just kind of interested in that because I have.
How old is this damn thing? Oh my!
Yeah.
I'm wearing, if you don't, I'm wearing a Halo 2 hat.
2000.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
2008 or 6.
8.
So that's 11 years ago.
Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
maybe
11
2 or 3 months ago. Me and my girlfriend have this friend, and he's Korean, and he was saying like every Christmas when they go to their aunt's place, they're not allowed to get gifts unless they do like a performance, and they like basically put on a talent show.
There you go.
And he was like, "Yeah, this is like something like a lot of Korean families do," and I'm like, "Man, being a Caucasian sucks.
Yeah.
I'm missing out on all the cool shit."
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I've been doing it for years, like since I was younger, and it just seemed to be like the thing to do.
Does it still
'Cause you
go
get
on?
money. Yeah, actually, yes, it does kind of go on, like when we have like our little fan jams and stuff. Except this time I'm drunk. So
Do you
it's a
bring
lot
auras
easier.
and you just put on like an Irish-
No,
just bring the
no,
whole
like
rig?
me and Ray will just be like, cause like at the time he'll like live in Windsor and I was living in Cambridge, so like we'd meet up like literally either a day before, maybe hours before, and be like, okay, we need to like whip up something. Let's get this money. So we do like Bruno Mars cover
Dope.
or like something that's just more like.
Do they pay you depending on the quality of the performance?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
This
But-
just wasn't it, Chief.
Yeah, and I always remember like because we're silly when we're in the room together. So like when we're kind of preparing, it's just we can't even get through the song because we're laughing the entire time because it's just ridiculous. But yeah, we get it done, and yeah, we have a good time.
Dope.
Yeah, family's supportive on whatever I do. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It should be more encouraged. Family talent shows.
I mean.
We should start.
Anything sound like you said,
Yeah.
you could just do that. It's cool.
Yeah.
That's
Show and
hilarious.
tell.
I have one last little silly thing, and then we can dive into the serious big boy questions. Do you wish the band was called Orals or Asporas, perhaps?
Orals would have been cool.
I like caught this like weird joke interview that you guys did.
Or when was this?
Fuck. What was the station called? Pure Grain Audio. It was like in like 2016. And you're just like getting interviewed, and the dude is like so unenthused.
Wait, hold on a second. Was it like me and Aaron on the
Yes,
couch?
yes.
Oh man. So that is complete satire.
Okay, as I thought.
yeah.
As I was hoping it was.
It was so funny. Like he was such a good dude to do it with, and yeah, I completely forgot about that. So
Man,
you brought
that shit
up.
had me cracking up. The guy's like, so how does it feel to be a completely shitty band and not get paid anything for being out here?
And like Aaron's just like super quiet, and like he was like egging me on. Like he's like, just do whatever you want.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just try to make it funny, and I tried, but
So it was like completely like spontaneous on your end. Like he had these things prepared, and you guys were just like, you're in on the joke, but you kind of had to like come up with stuff as you went along.
so he like reached out before, and I think this was like at the end of the Native Contract tour, and he's like, yeah, I'd like to do an interview, and I was like, yeah, well, you know, that's cool. And then like when we meet up at the venue, he's like, all right, I got to give you a heads up.
I'm
Like,
gonna fuck with you.
I'm pretty ridiculous. Like I don't want to get everyone like all, thrown off. Like I want you to know, I'm not gonna tell you what I'm gonna say, but I want you to go along with it. And Aaron didn't really know what that meant, and then I was like, okay, cool. And then I watched some of his videos, like, okay, I'm down with this. Like this is my kind of humor, so I
Yeah,
kind of
that's
went
good.
with it. Yeah,
It's
it was
funny.
Yeah, it was a good time. Yeah,
So you want to talk about the new record?
we can.
You want to talk about
Let's
the
do
new
it.
single?
Yeah.
You want to talk about everything to do with this shit?
We could talk about whatever. We could talk about that guy smoking
The
out of
McDouble?
The McDouble.
He should have
And
been
then
listening
eating
to
it
that song.
after.
Do you
Yeah.
think the toke tasted like kind of beefy, like 100% beef?
No, I think it caramelized the ketchup as it went through, and the smoke just really.
I feel like he would have got some of
Gave
the,
it a
like,
nice,
the bits of
tinge.
like the bud and stuff.
The little onion bits?
Yeah, maybe. Oh, the little onion bits. Yeah, a little bit more pickle bite than he's used to.
You guys ever smoke out of a weird thing?
Apple.
I'm not sure what that means, dude.
I
All right.
have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
I never smoked out of any fruits, nothing like that. I was pretty traditional, just like, yeah.
You heard it here first,
I
and
wouldn't
then the
imagine
apple.
so.
James and the giant peach.
Evan would not recommend apples. Ever.
But this new single,
Yes.
Yes.
Dude, that
Yes.
shit is so
That's it.
fucking dope.
Thank you so much.
And
I'm glad that everyone's starting to like it, and
Yeah,
You
that
know,
shit
like-
blew up like week 1, like 70,000 fucking listens.
It really, yeah.
Damn,
I didn't
that's
expect
awesome.
that really, and like, we've been kind of on the down low for a bit.
Do you think there was just so many fans just bubbling? Like, we need some fucking
Yeah.
new auras, man.
Honestly, like, I don't hear it enough. Like, a lot of people are waiting for it, and we didn't want to like kind of hint too much. Like, we've dropped some teasers here and there, but
Yeah.
we wanted to make sure that when we dropped it was ready, and like we had the
Right.
label backing us 100%. Shout out to Carl, and we just want to make sure we did it right, and we're glad that we waited, and we're glad that people are enjoying it. So.
Yeah, the response has been really good.
Yeah, it really
it's dope that
has.
we get to have you in here too. Because when Nathan was here, it was still like a lot of elements were like on the down low. and
Yeah, he
couldn't,
wasn't
like,
supposed to
talk
say
about
anything,
lot
and
of
he did a
shit.
good job
Yeah,
of
yeah.
not dropping anything.
I was
and-
really trying to prod.
yeah, but like now we're at a point where we're about to start unleashing.
Yeah, the
what we've been
rollout
cooking.
cycle
The
has
rollout
began.
cycle is happening. So, I was really happy to come up on here and talk about it a little
Cool.
bit more than Nathan could. So
Yeah.
100%.
So how long did this take to make, like the whole entire thing, like to write, I guess, before
Man.
you guys stepped into the studio and started, I guess maybe even before pre-pro?
Man, well, it's gone through so many stages. I don't even remember when it started, but the beginning was, I remember Nathan was on tour a lot with Intervals, and I was kind of just exploring different territory, and like I'm really huge into like R&B music, hip hop, and even EDM. Like I just like production. I think it's really cool, and I was like, I'm gonna just get a laptop. I'm gonna get Ableton, and I'm gonna actually start, programming some music. You know what I mean? See if I could make a trap beat, because it seems so easy. It really isn't. The first things that I came out with sound like crap. But I had a guy, his name's Josh Polas. He's out of King's Music. He's from Cambridge. He kind of showed me the ropes and told me how to kind of program and how to produce. And he's actually the one who helped me produce the synths here on this album.
Oh, nice.
So that's why there's that a little bit of influence from there. So anyways, he was on tour. I was kind of programming some things, and then like I kind of explored some plugins, and I was like, man, like this would sound really cool, like behind like kind of the music that I would like that I'm
Yeah.
doing in metal. So I kind of just rolled with it, and the first song was Momenta. Surprisingly,
nice.
I just clued into that now, and that was the first song with those synths and everything, and like I was like, this is kind of cool, and I sent it out to some of the guys. I didn't send it to Nathan yet, but I was like, hey, like what do you guys think about this? I'm like, oh, it's pretty cool. Like doesn't really have like a final
Was this
production to it.
Musty Corn, perhaps?
Musty Corn? So how do you know about Musty Corn?
Tell me about Musty Corn.
Yeah, why don't you tell us
Tell
about
us.
Musty Corn?
Musty Corn. All right, so Musty Corn. It's not Musty Corn.
did I fuck
Actually,
it up?
we have the
There was
best.
there was three stems, correct?
Yes, there was. So actually, that one was Plantson.
Okay.
That one, Memento was Plantson. The next one that I sent over was Musty Corn.
Okay.
So if you guys don't know, like, I have this tendency to make ridiculous names, and I feel like everybody does it.
Yes.
So.
Oh yeah.
But like, I'm trying to make them as ridiculous as possible, and because it's just funny to get the reaction when I send out these things to like in the group chat. So when you just like open it, it's like Musty Corn, like, and like I have this thing where I don't really think about it. I just like right when I'm about to save
Stream
the-
of consciousness.
yeah, like when I'm about to like save the project, I just be like, oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I can't
Cool.
change it. It's done. It's sent.
Gotta
So
commit.
yeah, so Musty Corn is. I'm actually excited for everyone to hear.
Cool.
Musty.
Oh, okay,
Corn.
so Musty Corn was fleshed out to full fruition.
Yeah, like Musty Corn's a different song.
Awesome.
So on
Is
the
it,
record,
does it keep the name Musty Corn?
so I wanted it to, but it didn't really fit the vibe, and it kind of paints a weird picture for anyone who's seen Musty Corn. But anyways, yeah, like that one's coming on the album, so looking forward to be able to hear that.
Cool.
But yeah, the Memento was called Plantson, just a random word that I came up with.
So when you showed them that, was how much of that is similar to what it is now?
So
Are they
it
the
was like a
exact same, or-
skeleton. It was like
Okay.
a simple skeleton. Like the synths were not even quite there yet. There's only a couple layers. There was no singing. There was no screaming. It was just
Guitar based drums.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And ridiculous drums that don't even make sense. Like I think Nathan mentioned that. But yeah, like I just kind of started making music in Ableton. I used to use Reaper, and then Ableton kind of just gave a
Reaper.
different kind of workflow and like accessibility to these plugins.
Yeah, such an easy workflow.
It's such a great
I'm still
workflow.
not that used to it though.
Yeah, like it's weird to like switch over from screens and stuff, but like I eventually kind of got into the groove of it, and I just kept doing it, and not even thinking that it was going to be the next Aura's album. I actually was like, I'm just doing this for myself. You know, I'll get to Aura's when I get to Aura's. You know what I mean? And then I kept digging, and like I had like 3 or 4 ideas that I was like super stoked on, and then kind of went from there. When I said to the guys, they're like, "This is like half an album." You know what I mean?
Nice.
It's a good way to start. And I was like, "Oh, really?" And then I eventually kind of just started working and building from there.
So I heard that basically like the difference with this album is you started working with the synths and went up from there.
Yeah, which is
And
weird. Yeah.
You were also inspired by like the Stranger Things soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like Stranger Things was just like one of those synths that I heard for the first time on that intro, and I was like, man, I love that vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Did you start getting into any other like synth wave or retro wave like artists and stuff from there?
Not really. No.
You just went like I like that tone.
I like
the way
that
that
tone.
works.
I just liked the coldness of it, and I kind of just went through plugins and found what was similar and just played it with it there. Like it just kind of started from a vibe, and then I just kind of heard like a lot more retro wave coming up and blowing up a little bit, and like just getting more inspired by hearing about that. I mean, the first band that kind of really did it for me was Icy Star's most recent album, Treehouse. If you haven't heard it, give it a listen. It's very synth heavy, but it's not like heavy and like like Aura's heavy. It's just heavy in like the ambience of it all and the textures, and like it was the first time where I heard that together, and I was like, man, like that's actually a cool way to paint a picture on a song. So
yeah, there's a lot of more creative synth use being used in more like heavier metal. Like I don't know if you heard the new volumes that came out.
Yeah, so the new volumes that
like
came out,
you're using a lot more like samples and stuff like that, and it's like, but it's not. It's more like subtle, but it like really fills the space.
It does fill the space. It makes it so it's not so dry, and it kind of adds a more environment to the music. Yeah. And like that's just what a lot of music needs now, is just a little bit more depth, and that's kind of what I wanted to do with my music, and all the music that I listen to outside of metal does that as well. So
yeah, showing on the new song, definitely.
Yeah, as soon as Momenta comes in, you get hit with those nice synth like soundscapes, and then there's like these like orchestral drums that come like rolling in over top.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, okay, we're in like a completely different space than we were with like previous, as you said, Aura's heavy. Like you guys had your own like brand of sound.
You guys
almost.
were doing that on Heliospectrum though.
We started
like,
doing
it.
Yeah.
On songs like Waterstone and stuff like that, you can really like that vibe was kind of captured in that.
It was captured there, and I always wanted it to be captured, but I was only able to do it and replicate it on guitar. So I would just get clean guitar, add a bunch of effects on it, and it would act like almost like a synth. And then in studio, after I laid those down, we worked with Anthony Calabretta, and he helped us pick out some synths at that point and just add it on top. So since we're always the last step on any of the albums that we had dropped, so this was the first time where I was able to organically come up with the lines and then work from there. And it was just a new headspace for me. It was like brand new, and I loved doing it, and it was fun. And like throughout the album Binary Garden, you'll hear that. So
do you feel like you'll take that more, like that approach more, like in the future? Now that you have Ableton and you're kind of getting more into it, you'll kind of go with more of like the already finished synth tones or close to finish, and you're going to use that more as like a writing tool.
So I feel like if I were to do another record, I'd probably just find something new. Try something different. Like maybe not even start with the synth. Maybe start with the guitar and then add the synths myself organically instead of going into a studio and have them do it. What I find about writing is that every time I've gone into an album, I've always had a different mindset and approach, and I think that triggers new territory, and like you're learning and you're experimenting, and that's what makes the music more genuine and organic. And like I think I will always try to do something different, and most likely I will use that approach for like maybe a couple songs, but you never know. Maybe I'll look at a different plugin, start with something more orchestral and go from there. But yeah, like I feel like just changing it up just really helps with the workflow of writing music. So
do you think it was a good thing to get a different perspective on the process, sort of like in this period of your life where Nathan joined up with Intervals, and I think immediately like took off on like a 5 or 6 month
he was
tour,
just like,
and so you guys kind of had some time to like chill and like
Exactly,
let some
yeah.
thoughts and different things like ferment a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you think that was like important to this writing process, or was it detrimental to have a key band member just like take off right away?
Well, I feel like it was just good timing because when he had to go out, we didn't really have anything planned. We were kind of just kind of sitting, like not really doing much. And I think when he left, it just kind of gave myself some time to breathe and reflect on the kind of music that I want on the next album. So I'm used to just like writing by myself and sitting in a room and coming up with ideas. And, we knew he was busy. He was networking and working with Intervals. And I just felt like if he's working, I should start working. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it was nice to like have that open time to do something like that. And we knew that there was no crazy schedule that we had to do. So, me writing at my own pace was really good.
Cool. I think that's like a really healthy perspective to have. I feel like a lot of other bands might have seen like, okay, a member's joining up with like another band that's like bigger than we are right now,
Right, yeah.
and maybe been a little bit jealous and envious of the situation, or
No,
like even
like,
mad about it.
No, I don't think that's like the mentality that people should have. Like they should embrace, their own fellow
Hell
band
yeah,
members
that's
or
your homie,
musicians, flourishing in other directions, and like no one said that you had to stick with one project. No one ever said that. It's all about, timing and preparing on your own and doing your own path on doing whatever. You know what I mean? Like in the realm of like other genres, everyone's doing something different. You know what I mean? They're doing either session stuff on drums on a certain record and a different artist, and they're just opening up their doors. There's no point to close it off because then you'll feel suffocated a little bit. You know what I mean? So, and for myself, I've explored other musical endeavors, and I think that's very healthy. It's never good to just kind of keep one lane.
Yeah, I think that kind of dynamic separates like a good band from a not so good band. But I mean, like as a team, you know what I mean? Because like if, like you said, like bands are getting envious of like members just like doing other things that are, on a different level or whatever, or that are going up a different slope, then, it's just there's just no point. Because
and I get that
you
too.
should embrace it though, because I mean, when you see a band do that, you just can kind of
I feel like if you can't embrace that, there's probably deeper issues that are gonna arise.
Exactly.
Yeah,
later
exactly.
on,
like I understand where the envy and all that jealousy comes up. There is a time and place where you shouldn't, just go somewhere else and pursue something. Like I said, it's about timing, and you can't really handcuff anybody to do only your lane, because a lot of bands have that issue where they're like kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of kept in like one zone, and it's suffocating.
Like
I feel like it's detrimental to the artist. Like there's so many bands I've seen where either like a member takes off to try something else and the band just implodes almost immediately, or nobody goes out to try anything different, and the sound just gets so stale and like stagnates.
Exactly.
And I guess you're gonna have those diehard fans who always want that same sound, but like as an artist, I think the whole goal is to just mature yourself and like the landscape around you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Can't please everybody though.
Yeah.
You can't. No, you can't. I know that there's some people out there that have listened to the new song and are like,
fuck them.
Yeah, like I think there was one comment. I don't really dwell on comments too much, but there's one comment that said, "Singing is not a place for metal," or something like that.
Fuck.
Hey Patrick, do you want to talk about that?
And then
maybe.
And then someone replied and said, "Didn't metal start with singing?"
Yeah.
So I mean, I didn't respond. I mean, I get it. If you're looking for something like,
why would you come to say that though? Like,
well, the climate of the internet. It's so easy
to
to say anything without any.
They're having a shitty day and they just want to fuck your day up.
Yeah, and it didn't really fuck up my day. I think it fucked up the other guy's day. He was just like, "What are you talking about? Like, that's not even true. It's not even remotely true." You know what I mean? And then I'm just like, all right, yeah, like, But like that's just like the nature of the internet and commenting and
Sure.
stuff.
So we have a funny little guy at the end of the couch here, Patrick,
Hey.
who
Patrick.
doesn't particularly love when you have brutal, crushing vocals mixed with clean,
Nope, you're wrong.
melodic vocals.
There's-
Okay.
It's only certain kinds of clean vocals that I dislike. And it's usually the lyrical content that really, really fucks it up for me.
That's fair.
Like what kind of lyrical content?
There must be something.
Oh, you're not thinking the new riff read. Damn, man.
The water.
Nice.
I don't know. For some reason, I can't fucking do it.
I love it.
I love the new Perif, but
Yeah, I think they're amazing musicians, but that lyric just fucks everything up for me.
I know a lot of people kind of feel a little like tweaked about Spencer's lyrics and vocals.
I don't know.
From
I
time to
think
time.
I think when it comes to like lyricism, every lyricist has like a different message and a different way of conveying that message, and sometimes they use like simple like figures of speech to like get the message across,
Sure.
so you can be like, oh, I understand what he's saying, rather than like using like a complex vocabulary or like
And
you know,
I feel like with the dynamics that he brings to the table, you really notice what he's saying, where some other artists can like, they can say whatever the fuck they want, but it's kind of like really just lying in the track and you might not notice it. Like I noticed this with hip hop a lot, where like there'll be one line from a rapper that I absolutely love and I think they're an amazing writer, and you're just like, what the hell did they just say? That was so stupid. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like just
Yeah.
the way Spencer like projects his voice to like a very high range on the track. I feel like it
Yeah.
just makes it like so much more noticeable.
Yeah, I mean it's all subjective, right?
Yeah.
Like I mean I know what he's doing and what he's trying to like come across. Like that song is a complete thematic, like full orchestral, like 15-minute beast, and I feel like
it has
his
to paint a picture.
voice is like kind of more dramatic.
What do you think's
In
in
that
the
sense.
water?
Yeah.
Something.
What's he referring
Fluoride?
to? Is he talking about
Fuck if I
the
know.
toilet? There must. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what he's talking about there, but I mean, I could see what you're saying,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, it's not
Just-
for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, if it was me listening to this like 5 years ago, I'd be like, that is strange.
Yeah.
What are you
Yeah.
doing? But you know, I can appreciate the musicality of it, and I can appreciate Periphery on everything that they do. So
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fucking crazy.
yeah, they're nuts. That entire album for me was like, it was just a ground shaker, because I haven't really been listening to too much metal, and I know like everybody says that, but like a lot of the prog stuff recently hasn't really caught my eye, and like what they did from start to finish was just like a message to all musicians.
I've been
you know what I
talking
mean?
about this with these guys for a little while now, where like the state of prog metal had kind of like stopped in time.
It
Yeah.
did, yeah.
I feel like so many new up and comers were just copying people that were already out here.
Right,
There
right,
wasn't a lot of risks being taken in the
right,
music.
exactly. Risks
And-
is a good word.
I was actually like so giddy to like have you come in here after listening to the new track, because I feel like it's just like that. Like it's so fresh.
Mm-hmm.
It's got those elements that everybody fucking loves, but it's different enough that you're like, okay, like we're turning in
There's
a new
opinions,
direction.
but there can be opinions formed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On either side of the.
I'm
the
glad
line.
that I was able to do that.
Yeah.
And like, you know what, I feel for like any musician that wants to do well, just do something different, just
Yeah.
be yourself. It doesn't matter what people say, and like just do something genuine. And
So-
and yeah, there's a lot of bands that kind of just follow a formula.
It's easy to play it safe if it's getting you a paycheck.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's easy to play it safe, and and sometimes there is a place and time to do that. But for me, when I'm writing music, I want to do something different and fresh to the ears. Because like with the streaming world, you need to have something that pulls you in.
Yeah,
a
I know
little bit.
you'd said before that this is like a different era that you're kind of like partaking in, where like
Right.
the first like 5 to 20 seconds of a song are like kind of make or break, right? Like
Exactly.
if you're not doing like these nice melodic hooks and things,
Mhm.
chances are people with the attention spans that we have now might just click skip on the track. You know?
and that's exactly it, and that's why Memento was a good starter, because it starts off with that vibe, and then it
Immediately,
pulls
yeah.
you in immediately, and then it kind of sends a message
Yeah.
as to what we're trying to do. So yeah.
Cool.
And it's still got that good old Laura's in there.
Oh fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. I mean, that song, it still has a lot of the heavy aura stuff, but it's not like it's completely gone. Like I know a lot of people are like, oh, like maybe they're just kind of stepping it back, like for some songs. But then there's other songs where it's still us.
I wanted to kind of go back to like the whole clean vocals thing.
Oh yes.
So because you guys haven't really had that in your whole repertoire of songs.
Not really, no.
So when that shift happened, was it just the band kind of being like, oh shit, like Josh can sing, like we should probably use that, or what? Or were you kind of hiding it, and then you're like, hey, you kind of grew your skill, and you're like, hey, we should you guys want to try this?
I feel like, so every album that we've released, there was always some sort of clean singing in there.
Okay.
Like a little bit. So like on Helio Spectrum, Ray was on it.
Yep.
On Crestfallen, he was on it.
Oh, that was him on Crestfallen?
Yep, that
Okay.
was Boundless, he was on that.
Yeah.
And it was just like we always wanted to incorporate singing in our music, but no one really had the skill to do it, or like had the drive to actually attempt it, right? And when we did Helio Spectrum, I actually did one of the songs, Spiral, where I sang, and that's when I first started trying to learn how to sing. And I was actually taking lessons within that year of recording that. And afterwards, we kind of just realized that like Spiral has something special. Like it has that hook, it has that memorable spot and foundation, and it's one of those things that I feel like we should do, like moving
Kind of
forward.
what you were looking for.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, that actually did work. Like we should definitely do more of that. And then like after that album, we did some touring, and I like started doing it live and getting used to it. I was like, guys, like I feel like I can do this. You know what I mean? Like I think this is something that we should definitely look into. And they're like, yeah, so that's all you. I was like, yeah. So, I actually had a little side project with Skywritten. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that band, but
I saw you guys at Maxwell's when you ripped up there.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, that was a band that I was just kind of helping out and just having, it was a fun project, and I tracked vocals for them and I performed for them, and it was a realm where I can actually like see if I can do it. And in terms of writing and recording, and I loved it, and the guys loved it, and they were like, yeah man, you should definitely try to sing on this next record. I was like, okay, like we'll see if it happens. And then at the same time, I'm writing more melodic stuff that has a more ambience environment to it, so like I felt like the singing had to be in there to complement those parts, right? It would just be weird if it was, for me, I would feel like, especially for Mementa, like in that little section where I do have cleans, like if there was no cleans there, I just feel like it wouldn't be translated the same.
Sure.
Yeah.
So was your hand kind of forced to be like in the complete foreground with some of the cleans? Like I think I recall hearing that Eric was in recording his screams and he shot his voice during like maybe the last studio day, and you had to go in and like you guys were supposed to be doing like sort of like gang vocal style, but then it ended up just being you singing on the tracks.
So actually, what it was, what had happened was I tracked my singing first for this new record, and I wrote the screams and my own backup screams for Eric and myself, and I was prepared to do it. So I did the singing. By the end of the singing, I was like, all right, let's spend like these next 3 hours and just like whip out the screams that I was supposed to do. And I couldn't do it because I was just so like locked into the singing part and like trying to nail those parts, like that when the screaming came, my voice was not there. And then we kind of reflected and we're like, well, do we really need your screams on there? And I was like, well, not necessarily. And they're like, well, do you think you could do those live in combination with singing? And I was like, that's a hard maybe. So I think, the whole point of having my screaming with Eric screaming back and forth on the past album was just contrast, but I felt like my singing was enough contrast against his screaming. So he ended up doing it himself, and we removed some parts, and it actually just made the music more breathable at that point.
Cool.
Literally. Like, I don't even know if I could do some of the things that I had prepared for myself for backup screaming. So it worked out in the end. And like I'm glad that I was able to get my singing out of the way and get that, because that was the more important aspect of the record that I want to get done.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys are in like full rollout mode, and it looks like you guys are ready to kind of take over the world. To be honest, like
No,
you're getting a vinyl press, you got all this fucking merch ready to go.
Purge your Instagram.
Yeah,
Purge the Instagram.
that took a long time. There's no fast way to do that.
No, that's
Yeah.
fucking hard.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm in the process of doing it for my personal Instagram.
Instagram,
but
if
there's
you're
just
listening.
way too much, and
Yeah.
like I literally
Give a
have to like
multi-delete.
budget some time each day to like to remove it.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, we purged it. It was just a lot easier and a lot cleaner
Sure.
to market.
I
like, the
I know
new face of it.
tons of musical
Yeah.
acts like to do that. To
Mhm.
okay, that album cycle is done. We'll get rid of it. We'll keep that in the photo books
in
for
the
later,
archive,
whatever. In
as
the
they call
archive.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think it's probably the best way to go about things. It doesn't convolute like two records, two rollouts, two
No.
tour cycles. It's just like all clean. Any information you need about what's happening right now is gonna be right
It's
there.
more relevant, right? Like I don't. Like for me, I don't scroll down endlessly on a band that I really like. Like
Yeah,
I'm not
I
going
maybe
back
go-
to like 2017.
I
and,
maybe
like,
chuck up like
Periphery,
three
like, what they
rows.
were doing. Like no,
Yeah.
I don't really do that. I don't think anybody else has the time to do that.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to just paint it on the Instagram, like what's up, this is it, like no scrolling, no bullshit, like this is what's going on. And I think it's just a lot easier to get the point across when you have a consistent flow of a theme.
Yeah, I think it's great for the artist. It makes my job really tough though, because I've been going like I'll go to their Instagram or like artists like social media and shit.
These
and
guys
I'm
got
like,
nothing.
I'm trying to like dig
Oh,
deep and like see what's up, and I'm like,
Dude, that's
oh,
so
there ain't
funny.
shit here. I gotta go
yeah.
elsewhere.
That's true. If someone wants to do research, it's not Instagram's not the one.
Well, that's how I ended up finding like the Christmas video and like your old Vine
Christmas.
stuff, because you basically forced me to work a little bit harder.
Yeah, that was the whole point. I was doing that. So.
Well, I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
It's probably some shit nobody's ever heard of before other than you, right?
yeah.
So are you guys like planning to go on tour like when the album rolls out, or is that kind of up in the air?
Something's good.
NDA.
Something's cooking. I'm not gonna say much. But
All right.
Something's cooking.
Fair enough.
Just album comes out July 12th. So
Nice.
And
Yeah,
are
Dan's got an NDA.
are you guys like live ready, like, or when I think Nathan's tour just is wrapping up?
yep,
Mhm.
his tour is wrapping up. So when he gets back, we're gonna start like going
Just-
through
yeah.
the motions of it. I've been rehearsing on my own, both singing and playing guitar. I wouldn't say like we're like if there was a show like a week from now, like I wouldn't say we're ready, but we're all used to like rehearsing on our own, and we meet at a space for about a day and just kind of lock some things out. We're at like at a point like at a point where we can actually do that. I know back in the day you had to jam every Thursday. You had to keeping that momentum and performance up. But I feel like you can all do things individually, and then it only take about a couple days for you to lock in.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. Is there like you got any funny like studio stories? Like I think you guys headed down to Detroit to
Yeah, we went to Detroit to meet up with Nick Sampson to do some pre-production.
That guy's done quite a bit of stuff.
He's got
Yeah.
like such a great catalog, and honestly he's probably the easiest guy to work with. He was just so laid back, and he's uberly talented. I couldn't even believe like the stuff that he was coming up with. And
Was it just kind of on the spot, or did he have to like stew on it for a bit, or was it what I mean?
Yeah, so we sent it I want to say like a week before we got there. I sent him just like kind of all of our ideas. He listened through it. He didn't really say anything, and then when I got there, he was like, "Yeah, like I've listened through it. It's pretty sweet." He didn't have anything to add really until we actually took one of the songs and started working on it. Then he put in his like 2 cents and stuff, but he's great.
So here's an interesting thing. I don't know if you'll know much about this, but I want to ask. So Nick has worked with Polyphia.
Yes.
Ray wanted to try out for Polyphia.
Oh yeah.
Did he ever try out? Did that end up happening?
It did. It actually did. I was actually at that house that you saw that Vine in. So I helped track him for the audition. And I can't really remember like how it went, but I think
Not well.
yeah, he is not there. No, I think they went well, they obviously went with the direction of
Yeah.
instrumental music because that was like a peaking thing at that point.
Yeah.
And honestly, with Ray's schedule right now, there's no way he'd be able to do it.
Sure.
I think it was more of a passion project, if anything, and to see if he can do it. Because like he's always had pipes and he's always been in bands and stuff. But like, you know, he was inspired to start it after seeing like, you know, auras and stuff. But deep down, I don't think he really had the time to do it because like right now he's just a busy guy and like
Sure, yeah.
it's not in the cards right now. If I was like, hey man, you want to start a band, like it
Not
would
gonna
never
happen.
No.
Yeah, he seems to be on his own stride over there.
Yeah, he's got a good
Yeah.
workflow and you know that's what he wants to do. So
Cool. So we have a break coming up in about 10 minutes. So do you guys want to travel back in time and find out about his musical history before we head to the break?
I
a good idea.
would love to.
Cool.
musical history.
Yeah, so when with our guests, we've been doing this thing where we kind of go through your musical history from, you give us a young point, you're maybe 5 to 10 years old, like what kind of tunes were you listening to, interested in back
First
then?
musical memory.
Yeah, first musical memory. And then we go to, you're about to enter high school, you've heard a sound that like really kind of twisted your brain up a little bit and sent you in a different direction,
Cool.
and then where you're at now.
Okay, cool.
Want to play that game?
Let's play the game.
Cool.
So, tell us,
What's the first game?
what's your first musical memory?
My first musical memory? It was receiving drumsticks and a drum pad from my sponsor of confirmation, from my sister's boyfriend
Butch.
at the time.
What?
Butch.
That's it. Yeah, his name was Butch. Damn, you guys did your research. Yeah, so he gave me a drum pad and some sticks, and he was like, you know, drums are, you know, pretty cool.
here's some sticks.
I'm
you
like
know,
in
drums
grade
are pretty
8.
cool.
Like I'm not really listening to any music or anything like that, like as religiously as I am right now. But you know, the idea of just like hitting the pad, like not really understanding any rudiments or anything, it was cool. Like, you know, you don't really need much to be musical. That was like my first thing. Yeah.
And then, well, it's kind of an interesting trajectory you took. So you sort of got into guitar by fluke, like a buddy left his PV rig at your place?
He left his PV rig. It was like one of those PV starter kits. And I picked up the guitar and I was just playing around. It sucked, but like it was cool. And I was always intrigued by guitars. Like I would go to my friend's house and his dad would have like a Marshall amp and a guitar, and I'd be like, man, I just want to play it, but I feel like he's gonna kill me if I touch it. But it was the first time where I was exposed to it and no one was watching. That was the big thing. No one was watching, so I was able to just sound terrible on my own and experiment without anyone judging me.
That's the best.
It was really it was
best feeling
amazing.
ever.
You know what I mean? And I still can picture my room with it sitting there, and I just played, and I actually wrote, I won't even say a song, it was like a riff, and I was like, okay, like that's really good, that feels good. And like that kind of just I think it was like a month later I got that same starter kit and I started just jamming.
Oh.
No lessons.
Isn't it
nothing.
interesting the kind of shit you'll come up with when you know nobody's ever going to hear it, as compared to when you're going to export stuff to be it your friends or the world at large? Like it's completely different sounds.
And that's in like the way that I write still to this day is always be myself. I don't like when people are beside me or can hear me. I'm like at the lowest thing and I'm like just playing around, and I think that's a good headspace to be in because it's only you that can judge yourself, right?
I agree. I've had a bunch of times where like buddies want to meet up and kind of jam around and noodle around and try some stuff out, and I'm like way more reserved in the things I'm willing to do when somebody's just sitting beside me. Even if they're not the type of person who's going to judge you, like you can do whatever you want. There's still like this really like early man part of your brain where it's like, I don't want to show all my cards here.
Yeah.
I don't want
like I don't
I
want
don't need to reveal too much.
It's just weird to like, I'm going to play something and I know you're going to listen and like I might not play it properly, so I might not get the point across. And, and like I don't know if you have to go soon or like whatever. Like there's just so many factors.
Yeah, I guess you already just in your head that it's different than what's going to come out already.
Exactly. You don't have to worry about like presenting it. You know what I mean? I'm good to just sound shitty on my own and, you know, get it sounding at a certain point, then I could show it to people. You know what I mean?
Cool.
And like it's just always been like that for writing with me. It's just always by myself. like just getting in my zone, and like then when I feel like I want to show it to people, then I show it to people.
Yeah, I think it's the coolest way to write. I love watching like little video documentaries where like one comes to mind most particularly with John Frusciante from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And he like broke off from the group for like a year and a half, 2 years, went on like a huge heroin binge, and but he was like writing his own solo material, and it's like some of the most progressive shit you could ever imagine. But he was only doing it just because he's by himself, and like the music's for him and him only, basically.
You see that with a lot of solo artists that kind of break away from bands. Like think of Jason Richardson. You know, I mean the stuff that he was doing versus like what he was doing in Born of Osiris or. What was the other one? Chelsea Grin.
Who said that it's like when Jason Richardson joins a band, he becomes the band.
Yeah, it's just like it's that mindset where you can actually get in your own headspace and not worry about anybody. And I think that's like the best safe spot for me.
Dope.
Doing anything really.
All right, middle point. Turning point in music. You heard
where'd you get
some
edgy?
Sound. Yeah, where'd you get edgy? Where'd you get angsty?
Oh, you want to know? Okay, so I mean. The first song that really did it for me was Unholy Confessions.
Yeah.
Avenged Sevenfold. That was just like I didn't even like screaming. I hated it. And I was just like, but that riff is cool, and like just like the flow of the song, it's got a great hook, it's memorable. I loved it. That's what kind of got me into just like heavy, edgy stuff. Now, I have to thank Eric for this. He gave me a CD full of all the scene stuff. You know what I mean? I'm talking about Under Oath, Did Remember, Atreyu.
Yeah.
Because that's a different realm.
Attack.
I still listen to A Day to Remember.
But even before that, like
on a monthly basis.
I'm talking like Bayside and what else? Like what's the Rodney Escape the Fate. Like that kind of realm, you know what I mean? Like there was like the metal, like Trivium, Children of Bodom, Bullet for My Valentine, Avenged Sevenfold, right? That was like my bread and butter. But then he showed me this other realm, which where I used to look at it.
Post-hardcore.
I used to look at it and be like, man, that's weird. Like I don't see any talent in the guitar work at all. But then when I like actually listen, I'm like, wait, no, these are actually just good songs. It's not always about the guitar anymore. And like that's kind of where I realized like I don't have to shred. Like that's not gonna get you successful. It's just making good songs.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
Sure. Everything's gotta mingle.
And I remember he gave me that CD. He had to burn it like a DVD, so there was more songs he could put on there. It was crazy. Yeah. So I put that on my like.
Did he write something funny on the front of it?
No. It was just like blank, and he just gave it to me. I don't know where it is, but like that just blew my mind because like there was just so much music that I've never been exposed to, and it's not like streaming where you just like I'm gonna go on this playlist and I'm gonna discover 15 different bands.
Yeah.
It was like, what is this? Who are these people? And then at the same time, MySpace was blowing up, so then you actually can see the band. You can actually see what they look like.
I miss that shit, man. I wish it was still around.
Top Friends, you know, you kind of go through like, oh, like they're okay, cool. And honestly, that's how I found Periphery.
Oh yeah,
nice.
It was going through Facebook Top Friends. I think it was the Top Friends of like, I want to say, Haste the Day or something.
Haste the Day.
Another band I was huge on. But I just remember going across into Periphery, and there was no vocals. It was just like clean, like just instrumental.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, that's cool. And then when they dropped their album, I was like, whoa, like this is different.
That's dope.
Yeah, next
I actually had a really weird way of coming across some new music sort of during that period. I had a friend who didn't have internet, so he wasn't using like any peer-to-peer like software to like steal music like most people were doing.
Yeah.
He was going to the public library and borrowing albums, and he didn't like know what was on them, and he would bring them home and he would rip them on a laptop and then he would burn me CDs or like put them on USB sticks and shit.
For free? He would just give it to you?
Yeah. He's
What
like
a
a really good
homie.
friend of mine. I've known him since I was like maybe like
He's
4 or 5
He's like
years
a
old.
living iPod.
Yeah, dude. Shout out to Ryan Gesso. Fucking dude's
Man,
wild.
Ryan, what a homie.
Yeah. Like he was showing me like really early work from like Beck and like the Dandy Warhols. Like I know it's not like in like the hardcore
No,
scene
but
or
like
anything,
it's the
but
same.
yeah,
It's the same
he
thing.
was like basically crate digging for CDs.
Man,
Wow.
you could have made like a serious business with that,
Yeah.
and then get arrested.
Yeah,
You
it's
wouldn't
pretty dope.
download a car.
Yeah, that's awesome though.
Okay, and then like whereabouts are you now? You said you're not listening to a ton of like metal right now.
I'm listening to metal. Like, there's a podcast. There's a playlist called New Core on Spotify. I listen to that a
New
lot.
core?
New Core. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
I think they
What's
had
on
the
there?
same playlist on Pornhub.
yeah, New
Nice.
Core. Yeah, yeah, Nude Core. No, it's a mix of just a lot of stuff. Like Era's on there, a lot of post-hardcore, but also like proggier stuff. But then I just like listen to whatever's like ground shaking for
Sure,
me.
sure.
Like for example, Periphery is one of them. The Cadinia, I don't know if you guys listen to them. They're like this European.
Oh,
band.
that's how you pronounce it.
Cadinia. I listened to that like literally 2 weeks ago. I was like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
What's that band you showed me a couple weeks back where nobody knows any of the members?
Oh, Sleep Token.
Sleep Token.
You ever heard
Yeah,
of that?
they're
I
like,
have not.
Yeah,
This shit's
yeah,
wild.
You're
I'll
gonna have
show
to
you
burn
them.
me a CD.
Yeah, I'll have to ask Ryan Jesso.
We can check it out after the cast. It's
Yeah.
definitely worth checking.
Yeah.
out. It's
guys
some
are super
really
cool.
out there stuff.
But yeah, I listen to that stuff. I also listen to just a lot of like hip hop and R&B. Like that's just like when I grew up, that's what I grew up with. Like
Right.
Usher and
Hell yeah.
Cisco.
Yes,
and
nice.
like Nelly, Ja Rule.
Yeah,
like,
Sweatsuit, Nelly.
Yeah, like seriously.
Remember
like,
that double album that he released?
Yeah,
Where
like-
it was like half his face and he was wearing like a nice clubbing outfit and the other one was him in like his,
Suede.
with his sway with like his headband and shit.
Yeah, he can get away with that stuff because
Shout
he's
out to
Nelly.
Nelly.
But, I actually saw him in Guelph, not too long ago.
Where?
Is it the Guelph Concert Theater?
Golf Concert Theater?
Yeah.
Nice.
It was disappointing.
Did he pack the place?
He did.
What was
But-
what was disappointing if you feel comfortable saying?
No, of course. I don't think Nelly's listening.
Yo,
I don't
Nelly.
think so either.
But
If you're
to me,
listening. This is an attack.
to me, like I've seen some good production, like stage production. You know what I mean? I feel like you're obligated to kind of give people a show. He went up, took off his shirt, put on the track, and sang with it.
That's the fucking show.
And he was just like the entire time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you're not like you're
Yeah.
there. Like if people are at the front, yeah, like you're that close to Nelly. Like that's worth it. But you didn't really put on a
I don't even know if
show.
that's worth it.
Like I don't know.
No.
Like I mean, he looks good for however like was he 50? I don't know, but like
Oh jeez.
he
How old is Nelly? Let's see.
he's like I'm saying he's
Not
jacked.
50.
I
There's
don't
no
know,
way he's
but
50.
maybe like 40. I don't know. But he let's see here. Nelly age. Nelly
He's now using the band-aids to hold back the wrinkles.
44.
Wow, you're
Damn.
pretty close.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I
How
don't
old
know.
are
For
we,
me,
man? What the fuck?
like for someone like who just wants to go there for the nostalgia
40
and you've
years
had a
old.
few shots, like great. But I just walked in.
Oh, you didn't have a few shots.
I actually did, but like for me, like being a musician, like you kind of look at other
Right.
things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, like you could have done so much, but you could have had a band.
Sure.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I've seen Bryson Tiller live, I've seen Post Malone live. They've had a band. They actually had like real planning,
Proper production. Yeah.
proper production, and of course they have a bigger budget for that because Nelly is, it's not as relevant anymore. But it's just that's the kind of thing I look for.
Cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
All right, you dudes want to take a break?
Sure,
Yeah.
All
guy.
right, we'll be
Hey.
back in 10 minutes or so.
10 minutes.
Hey.
Yo.
I don't think
What
that
up?
was 5 seconds.
Welcome back, everybody.
Yes.
How was your break? I hope you all were well.
The water was great.
Water was great.
Brita filtered.
Water's one of my favorite fucking things.
I doubt it.
I'd hope so. You're made mostly of it.
You've
I should have children. Not really.
already got 3.
Oh man.
I've got kids somewhere.
Do you think there's a planet filled with aliens that are made of 90% orange juice?
Christian, I don't know if I'd
They'll
like
never
to
get
answer
sick
that fucking
of
question.
vitamin C.
Yo, never getting scurvy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we solved that problem a while ago.
Hey, want to know
Yeah.
something weird about scurvy? So you know how pirates call each other limey bastards?
Oh.
Oh, okay.
It's
Go on.
because the pirates or like sailors would like come to shore
Pirates.
and they would like try to hook up with ladies, but they would smell like limes because their captains would mix limes into their like ale so they wouldn't get scurvy because they didn't want to eat just limes.
Oh, so they call you a limey
bastard.
Interesting.
I love etymology.
Is that where Sprite came from?
From trying to prevent scurvy.
Just put a bunch of lime in it.
No, that's 7-Up. Nobody
True,
liked it very much.
True.
Spritz up.
That's a
Spritz.
That's a good.
How did I
Yo,
fall
what
for that?
about-
I drank that like, oh, it's the same thing. Spritz up.
Yeah, like what about like Dr. Pibb and Dr. Zip?
Hey, no one. Pib is great.
Pib.
I've never actually had.
guys like
Fuck are
Pib?
those?
So you ever go to a Coke Freestyle machine? Like, you know, the Coke machines
Yeah,
with, like, a
yeah,
touch
yeah.
screen, you
They
can,
had
choose
one at
whatever
like
you want. You have them
Union
at the
Burger,
theater
I
and
think.
stuff like that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah,
a Subway
and
or
Freestyle.
something.
Yeah, and it's called Coke Freestyle, and they have like all the different kinds of Coke drinks. You got Fanta, you got High C, which is like the Sunny D kind of thing,
Yeah.
and then I keep looking at you just because you're at the theater, so
He
I'm
gets
looking
it.
for approval.
That's Evan.
I'm looking for the.
What
thumbs
up, High
But-
C?
But there's this brand called Pib with 2 B's.
I've seen it.
I've never drank it.
So
But,
that's Coca-Cola's version of Dr. Pepper? Okay.
Interesting.
Oh, interesting.
And what is Dr.
What
Pepper? It's like 23 flavors.
Yeah, 23 flavors.
They're fantastic.
And is Pib just like, we got 10.
Yeah.
No, they're just Pib.
We got
24.
Pib.
Yeah.
What is like? It's just a.
How do you even market that? That's such a sad
Well, there's
name.
like
They
there's
coulda-
like peanut butter called like Jif or
Pib
like
up, guys. Come on,
and,
Pib up.
and spelled JIF to end the argument.
But Jif has more like swag to it. Where Pib.
Pib. I feel like you have to really pronounce.
You want to
the
give me
B.
a can of Pib?
Yeah.
It sounds awkward off the bat.
Yeah.
Or
I
like
agree.
Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
chubby.
Or imagine going to a
Pib.
restaurant and you're like, what would you like to drink? Can I get a Coke? We have Pib. Is that okay?
I feel like when you guys go on a
I'm gonna
European tour,
leave.
you're gonna meet a guy named Pib.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, who names that shit like right off the bat? Like I feel like you're just destined to fail.
It just
Chubby
sounds like
was a weird one.
laziness.
Like imagine a boardroom full of people and some guys like, let's call it Dr. Pizzazz, and they're like, nah, let's go with Pib. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pib.
Yeah, I guess that works.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Mountain Dew. Yeah.
yeah.
Like, Mountain Dew is cool.
Mountain Mist.
I kind of miss Mellow Yellow. You guys
Mellow
remember
Yellow's in
Mellow
those
Yellow?
freestyle machines now.
What?
Yeah.
Mellow Yellow.
Mellow Yellow.
Is it as
And
good
they-
as I remember?
Not in all the machines. They
Remember
only have
Blue
the-
Pepsi?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I remember going to
R.I.P.
fucking what's that shit around here? Storybook Gardens. Do you guys remember that place?
Fuck?
Storybook Gardens.
Yeah.
Fuck are you
It
talking
was like
about?
No
somewhere
idea what that
around
is.
here. It was like a popular place to like take your kids. Like I remember going when I was like
Why do you know
7
about
or
that?
8. And and there was just like a bunch. It was like themed after like fairy tales, if I remember correctly.
What
But
were you
for some
doing?
reason, like yeah,
Go
and
to
like
the
I think
dwarf
Humpty
houses.
Dumpty was like on a wall somewhere. But that was the first place I tried Blue Pepsi, and within 15 minutes of drinking it, I just started throwing up blue
Oh no.
everywhere. But I was like, when it was coming up, I'm like, this is delicious. And then they discontinued that shit, probably because thousands of other children were
I feel
throwing
like there
up
was
all
something
over them.
wrong with it because I drank it and I was like, oh, it's pretty good, but something doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
It looks like chemical. Is
It
it?
was-
Do you
Oh,
remember when they did like the different colored like mustards and like
Oh, yeah.
ketchups and
Oh yeah, the
relish?
purple,
yeah.
ketchup.
Ketchup.
Purple
Yeah.
The purple ketchup.
That shit was gross.
That was, but it was gross, but like it shouldn't affect it. But I put it in my mac and cheese one time,
Oh.
and then I like mixed it. I was like, whoa, and I like I was like telling myself it's just ketchup. It's just, and I just couldn't do it.
It just
I
goes to
know.
show you like how much the appearance of something can affect the taste. Like I hear about this restaurant where all the waiters are blind and they like turn out the lights.
I don't.
Yeah.
Think, I don't think they're
It's called
blind.
noir.
Right.
They are. I heard about that. No,
I didn't
it's-
hear
Are they
about
just
that, yeah.
blindfolded?
No, they're blind, dude. I think you get blindfolded and the
And
lights
wait,
are out.
Look it up.
waiters are blind.
Look it up.
Yes.
Yeah, they
Look it
see,
up.
Look
they
up
sit you
noir.
down.
What do they
and,
do,
I think it's in
echolocation?
Toronto. Look up
Wait,
noir.
Josh has some information.
No, I think they sit you down and like make sure that everything's placed in the proper
Right.
spot so that you can eat and like you just eat blind
Yeah.
because you taste
Not the club.
taste better.
Oh noir.
Yeah, it's like your palate.
It's better in the dark.
I wonder what kind of freaky shit goes on here.
Yeah,
Where is
with the
it?
lights out,
Uh,
dine in the dark. It's in Montreal.
I'd be interested
it's
to
wrong,
try it
too.
because like
Control F blind.
There's definitely been times when I've been sitting in a pitch black room, like munching on
Yeah,
pizza
just press
after like
Control
a
F
little
and
bit,
type in
like
blind.
too many tokes, and it was like really delicious.
The socially conscious opening blind
Yeah,
originated from a blind pastor in Zurich who would blindfold his dinner guests so they could share his eating experience.
Yeah, I guess the waiters aren't blind.
So the origin.
Did they leave alive?
Oh, they're not?
How are waiters gonna walk around giving you food if they can't see you?
How do blind people walk around, dude?
You think they're gonna be walking around with a cane, feeling their way around?
Maybe they just
Echolocation.
know
Were
the
they
restaurant
blind?
really
They're blind
well.
as well. The servers are blind.
I thought they were blind.
The chef is blind too.
Yeah. It tastes like blood.
You see? Okay, we should.
This tastes
Oh,
like
you're
an
in the back.
accident.
Like, oh, that's what it.
Would somebody turn on the fucking lights?
We don't have it.
Yeah, we didn't.
Helps with the electric bill.
Well, where is this place? Where can I go try this? Toronto?
Yep.
Neat.
Yeah,
I'll never go
I've been
there.
wanting to check it out, but I think it's I don't know if it's a risk. I don't think it's
What
a
about-
risk.
You
I don't
guys
think it's
wanna
a
go on
risk.
a
I think
date?
it's just
We can all go.
What about restroom?
What's restaurant?
oh,
No,
using the restroom.
Using the restroom.
Oh, I thought you were like, oh, there's a different
Like,
restaurant.
is there no
and it's
like
called
there
restroom.
either? You're just gonna piss on the seat, and then someone sits down like, oh, I should have expected that.
What's restroom?
That is weird.
You guys ever been
The
taking a
janitors are
piss and the
blind.
light burnt out?
in like a public restroom.
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
That's happened to me before. It's the most dangerous territory you could ever
Were you-
imagine.
sounds like a horror
Number
movie.
1 or number 2?
I was just pissing.
Yeah, right.
I feel like I would be less concerned if I was shitting. Like, your ass is already planted right
Yeah,
there.
you're
You know,
right,
you know
yeah.
what's going
But imagine
on.
it's one of those things.
I was
where you're,
using,
like
like,
looking down
echolocation
at the
to
floor
piss,
and, like
like-
the lights turn off, and then they turn back on. There's like someone's like feet like right there, and then you're just like, I feel like that would be worse.
You just hear breathing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Kind of reminds me when we played at our place in Brantford.
Somebody was breathing
I
heavily
was in the
beside you?
bathroom in the stall, and there was this really drunk guy, and I was just finishing up in the stall. Yeah.
You mean
and-
straight legging?
Oh yeah, and he comes into the bathroom, and you know how sometimes you hear like drunk people like mumbling to themselves and they're like zoning out, like they're kind of just standing there and whatever.
Yeah.
This guy decided to zone out into like my stall door, so you just hear him sitting there going, "Oh, you should talk to her." What? I don't know. Like just like stuff like that, and like he's kind of like laughing and giggling to himself, and I'm just sitting there like,
you should have just started life coaching him from the other side of the door.
I'm like, yeah.
You should.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Yeah, but no, I was kind of freaked out because I just kind of had like the pre-show jitters. So
Yeah,
I'm
of
like,
course.
I'm just kind of like sitting
Everything
there, like,
throws you off when you have that.
yeah, exactly. You're just kind of trying to get in the zone, and I'm just sitting there like, okay, I don't want to deal with this. He walks out of the bathroom. I'm thinking, okay, I'm fine.
Could you see him through like the little crack
So
in the
the-
door?
Well, I saw his feet right at the.
Yeah.
at
Oh, that's
the
Were they
bottom.
pointing towards you, or were
Yeah.
they
Oh,
pointing
they were.
away from
They
you?
were like kind of towards me, but kind of on an angle. So he was like, you can tell it wasn't like an intentional, like just
It wasn't
like
a
face
personal
in front of
attack?
the door. He was
Yeah.
kind of like leaning over, and he's probably like looking at something else, but he's really close to my door. So he leaves the bathroom, and I'm like, okay, this is my chance. And before I can get out, he comes back in because I see him like through the crack, but he goes to the end of the bathroom and just like is looking at my door still, but he's like at the very end of the bathroom. I'm looking through the door, and at this point I'm just like, all right, I gotta get out of here. And then he left, and that was it.
Hopefully
And,
you talked to her.
Did it kill your
yeah.
jit?
Yeah, hopefully he did. Well,
Hopefully
actually,
it all worked
that guy
out.
got kicked out because one of the bands that we were playing with, one of the members was like changing his shirt or something, or like what was it? Like, yeah, he was just changing his shirt. And they have like a little like lounge area where there's some couches, and he was in that area where he was like taking off his shirt. And that drunk guy who was in the bathroom just goes on the couch and just starts like taking off his clothes, and then he just gets kicked out for that.
What the
Yeah.
fuck?
Yeah. Like watching like him just like sitting with no shirt on, just like, all right,
Wow.
Yikes.
what are we doing?
What a character.
Yeah.
I
Sorry.
wonder what happened for the rest of the night with that guy.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Probably
Well,
not
it's
much.
Brantford, so he probably went to the casino.
Well, that's
Yeah.
like the guy we saw at the 420 Fest. Like, I wonder what the rest of his life is like.
Oh yeah.
What happened there?
Oh, there was just this guy who we saw throughout the entire day, and he was just consistently like at the same level of like energy,
Yeah.
which was just kind of like you know those like heavy hitter moshers. Yeah, like one of those dudes.
Yeah.
And he always had a different shirt on, but
Yeah,
he
his
was
shirts
always
kept
ripping
getting
it, like,
ripped.
in half. And
Why?
I don't know. By the end of the night, he had no shirt on, and we were hanging out outside Harmony Lunch, watching a show. And he just kind of comes out. We look, we don't really pay attention to him. Kind of walks out, slips on this exposed like PVC pipe, just face flat on the ground, bounces.
Yeah,
Wow, what a
dude, he was
bounce.
straight onto his chest,
yeah.
right into the fucking dirt.
And kind of just gets up, looks at all of us. We're like, well, he doesn't get up. Sorry, we helped him get up, or you
Yeah,
guys
tried to.
did.
Yeah.
And
Good for you
he
guys.
Yeah,
gets
oh,
up.
of course.
Well, it was after like a second of just kind of.
And somebody in the
4:40, so
alleyway
everyone
was
just kind
somebody
of-
in the alley is yelling, "Get him off the cold ground!" Because he had no shirt on at this point.
And then we help him up, and he just goes, I knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah, he said that he looked at the pipe earlier in the day and said to himself, "I'm gonna trip on that at some point today." Yeah, classic. And then he like went into the venue afterwards covered in fucking tit dirt. Like starts like massaging. So there's this band Snakes performing, and he starts like fixing the one guy's hair. It's getting weird. The band's like not really acknowledging him. He like takes his tattered up shirt that's like hanging out of his pocket, and he like throws it back onto the drummer, and the drummer's like trying to play around it while like trying to throw this thing off of him.
The worst. Because like then you really have to stop playing.
Right. And then they go into like this breakdown mode, like everybody's just shredding fucking hard solos, and he just grabs the mic and does like this guttural scream into it for like 40 seconds straight, and then walks out of the venue and disappears into the night.
What a legend.
Hell yeah.
Did you get his name?
No. Well, we were trying to figure out who he is. We have like a picture of his backside, and there was like people in like the festival's Facebook group like, yo, who was that dude who had like 17 shirts and his ass was hanging out all night? So like other people are aware of him as well. It like isn't just us. And I'm sure somewhere down the line we're gonna figure out who this guy is.
Get his name, get him on here.
Yeah, get him on the podcast.
Let's hear his story.
Yeah.
Are you okay? Is everything all right?
You guys have any ridiculous shit go down at any of your shows?
There was most recent one we were playing at the place in Cambridge in Hesper. What was that called? It was 515. It used to be called that, but it had a new name or something, or maybe it was the same thing. But anyways, broken nose. But then he just kept going.
Oh.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, my nose is broken. I honestly can't really think about a specific moment on the road or anything.
That's probably pretty good though.
But we've had moments. I just can't think of anything right
Yeah.
now. There's just so many.
Anything really sweet ever happen? Any fan professed their love for you guys?
No.
Stalkers.
No, but I did have.
Stalkers.
We were in Arizona one time, and we were just kind of playing our show or whatever, and this girl comes up. She's like, oh, like, I love your stuff and whatever. And I'm like, oh, where are you from? She's like, Kitchener. I was like, what?
That's weird.
I'm like, we're from Kitchener. She's like, what? And I was like, why are you here? She's like, well, I've been living here for the past year. And it was like super random. We're just like, wow, like someone.
Whoa.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. But,
Yeah, I was saying to these guys like maybe a week ago, I ran into somebody from fucking Kitchener while I was on vacation in Mexico. Like,
it's funny
just
how that
so
thing's
far
happening.
away, and it was like some dude I like went to high school with. I'm like, what?
And
And
hey, dude.
yeah. What's up, man? How you been?
I don't see you in Kitchener, but I
Let's do
see
the
you in
small talk
Mexico.
halfway across the fucking world.
Yeah.
So I have a funny little question here, and I hope you want to play along.
I like funny questions.
So Eric is the self-proclaimed renovation king, the construction king.
Yeet.
If you guys had to, or if you had to choose what each band member was the king of, what would they be the king of?
Is Nathan the vacuum king?
Are you aware of the vacuum incident?
I've lived with him. I don't think I've ever seen him vacuum.
Oh my god!
What?
When we had him on here, he told us the funniest fucking
he
story.
was talking about was that on tour bus or something?
Yeah.
Maybe 100%. I just feel like we just didn't have a good vacuum. I think it just kind of
Well, that was like a main point of his story was
Yeah.
that he had never had a nice vacuum before until they were on tour.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he's like, I just really liked using that vacuum, man.
Our house was atrocious. There was always pizza bits on the floor, even though all the time, and just food, because like it was actually the entire band plus Ray living there.
Holy
It
shit.
was called the Cottage, R.I.P. It was 417 Tamarack. It was the best. There was just food always on the floor, and for some reason we'd be like, well, maybe this vacuum's gonna work this time, and we would literally just brush it around, put it under the bacon bits just flying into the other corners, and we're just like, we're cleaning, it's great. So yeah, I mean, if you consider that vacuuming, yes, we did vacuum, but he would not be the vacuum king.
What is Nathan the king of?
I'll get back to you on that one. So if Eric's the renovation king, Aaron is the... Man, that's a hard question.
I know. It's a little abstract.
I'm literally thinking of like a crown on Aaron's head, and it doesn't click, and I'm just confused. Really
good at
confused. Actually, no. Oh, I got this.
I mean, they can be the prince or like
no. He's the king,
the duchess.
Aaron is the king of missing exits. Always. Every time we're going somewhere, if it's tour, we'll just be going, and I'm like at this point where I'm like, should I let him know? Like I feel no, he knows what he's doing, and then it just every time. Oh, we missed the exit. Oh, we missed the exit. Like always. Like he's just so like famous for that. So yes, missing exits off of a highway.
That's hilarious too, because a GPS lets you know like obnoxiously far in advance.
I'm like, dude, why do you even have the GPS on if you're not even gonna look at the GPS? You know what I mean? Like, I think he just kind of gets into the zone.
Yeah.
Because he drives a lot for work and stuff. But yeah, he would just like miss him. Like, yeah, we just totally missed it.
That's funny.
Damn.
I can't really think of anything else. I'll sit on it though. For me, I don't know, king of really
Sick riffs.
Oh man, so much pressure. Yeah, I have no idea.
That's okay.
Let's go with sick riffs.
Yeah.
What are you guys the kings of?
Me?
You're the king of Little Caesars, dude.
Not anymore, dude.
I
He
can stop-
retired
Yeah, I
that.
retired that. I stopped Little Caesars a long time ago.
All right.
I don't know. What do you think we're the
But
kings of?
yeah.
I don't know, really.
Come on, tell us.
King of Little Caesars.
All right.
King of the bubbler that looks like a crack pipe.
That's the best thing you can come up with?
It's the most recent thing in my memory.
Unfucking believable. Oh, you would have said interrupting.
King of interrupting. Yeah, that's a good one actually. The king of disrupting my train of thought.
I found one. For
Okay.
Nathan. He is the king of tripping over cords of N64s.
Specifically N64?
N64s, yeah. So we'd be on tour, and we always bring an N64 with us and play Super Smash Brothers. And of course, they have wires, right? And this guy, he would try to hop over it, but instantly like just trip over it. And obviously the cords are not that big, so it just pulls the N64 off of like any surface, unplugs it, hits beer or something, and just always.
And probably the action of him jumping made the situation way worse, like causing the thing to be yanked.
It wouldn't
even
be
more
a
violent.
jump. It'd be like a little one-legged hop because he's trying to plan for the next.
Yeah, I know
landing,
the jump. I know the jump.
And then,
I think
he,
anybody who plays
entangles
consoles.
himself. It just, and I think it's his big skater shoes or something. That
Oh, is
just,
he wearing Fat Farms?
Yeah, maybe.
Osiris.
Osiris was the
Jinko
Airwalks.
jeans?
Airwalks.
Yeah.
Airwalks.
Hey, I got some Airwalks.
Yeah, but like they were like
Nice.
the big ones. Right? So,
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
yeah. That was a big
Caucasian clogs, as they call them.
Is that what they call them?
No, that's just what I call them. Right
That's
now.
hilarious.
Oh man,
Did you participate in any fashion trends that you regret deeply?
fashion trends. I used to straighten my hair.
No.
How long was it?
Jesus.
No.
It used to not that long.
Was it like the emo straighten, or was it like full head of? Like,
No, it wasn't because like the thing is with my hair when I was younger it was super curly.
Afro.
Kind of, not as much as Aaron. Aaron's got that. He's got like these serious curls. But anyways, I used to just straighten it because it was just easier to style back when you were seeing or whatever, and I used to do that before
The
shows.
scene.
But then one night you'd sweat, it would just come back and then look even worse.
Yeah. Or if you just the humidity slightly changes, it's like.
Yeah, exactly. I used to straighten my hair. I will.
What about you, Christian?
Honestly, I think I've pretty much dressed the same my whole life.
Bullshit.
When I was younger, I used to no. Listen to this. When I was younger, I used to buy this gel that you could put in your hair, and it would give you like temporary highlights for like as long as the gel.
Oh,
Was
was
it
in
the
your
spike
hair.
to be or
It's
got
called-
to be?
it
Got
was-
to be?
Mine was called ice gel,
Oh.
and you would like buy it at like
Oh.
fucking what's that garbage ass hair salon?
First choice.
First choice, yeah, where they fuck your shit up every time.
Fuck your
Hey, they
shit
were
up,
really good at
fam.
shaving my head.
What?
After they butchered one of your haircuts,
No,
yeah,
no,
we're just
no.
gonna have to shave this down.
No,
Yeah,
I
this
just wanted
is
to
gonna
go in there.
happen.
Just asked to shave my head.
Yeah.
There was a
dummy.
point in my life where like I started growing my hair out like longer, and then I like went there to get it cut, and they literally just like boxed my shit out. And I went back to
Nice.
school, and like 10 people told me I looked like Princess Leia, and I was like, "Mom, I'm never going to first fucking choice again."
Your mom forced you to go to first choice?
Yeah, it was cheap.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
$6
Back in the
for a
day,
Yeah,
haircut.
man.
Yeah, first choice was just at every like,
Yeah. It
little
was-
plaza.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
either
I mean-
first choice or your mom cuts your hair.
But the thing was, for most of my
Or
life,
your
I just
sister
like
or
I
whoever
had like a
cut your hair in
Caesar
family.
cut. Like it was like nothing like
Nice.
The fuck is a
ridiculous.
Caesar cut.
It's just like mostly
Ooh.
shaved
Number
down.
two on
then
the
you
sides,
just-
finger length on top.
Yeah.
The
exactly.
Caesar cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just slap some gel in your
Damn,
hand, and
Christian,
you
I would've
run it
taken
back.
you
and
for a fade guy, or even going for that wave check.
fade.
But
Yeah.
all right,
That was back when the faux hawk was huge too. So I
Oh,
used to like
jeez.
straighten the faux hawk part of it.
nice,
So lame.
nice.
So
Oh,
weird.
fuck.
I just see
That's
myself in the
actually-
mirror, just like, yeah.
I'm good.
You know what I mean?
I'm ready. To
I'm
go.
ready to play a show.
I'm so glad that was like the hairstyle I didn't hop on. The fucking faux hawk.
Yeah.
It was just
Faux
a
hawk. Oh
tragedy.
my
It,
god.
yeah, and like it would look good on certain people, but like people who would try to attempt it, it was,
Well, that's how it works, dude. You look through like a
Catalog.
hairstyling catalog, and there's all these male models, and like one of them has a mullet, and they're like pulling it off amazingly, and you're like, how is that even possible?
Yeah.
Like,
But you're like, I want that.
fuck
Let's go.
no.
yeah. And then you go to first choice, you're like, I want this, and they're just like, okay,
Yeah,
and then butcher it.
exactly.
And they immediately just start shaving your head down.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's no part of that. to
There's
shave.
no option.
Yeah, they just go for it.
It's like a fast food joint, but they only offer one combo, and
Fast
it's just
it's
shaved.
a fast hair joint.
That is amazing.
That's funny.
Oh man.
You guys got any cringy haircuts?
Um,
I had a faux hawk, by the way, and I did not pull it off well. It was very bad.
yeah,
Yeah,
I,
some people just don't have that hair for it, you know.
I remember seeing a Nirvana video where Kurt Cobain had red hair, and I thought I wanted red hair, so I went to the hairstylist, and she made me a ginger.
You said,
I
"Can
mean,
I have
that takes some talent.
Did she
Do you know how embarrassing that was going to school as a fucking ginger after?
it does?
Like, who's the new kid?
Shout out to all the gingers out there.
Fuck
Yeah.
me.
Oh my god!
And
Wait,
my-
so when you said I want red hair, and she's like, red hair, like
yeah, she was
you're
like
sure?
red hair. She-
Like
red hair.
Yeah, and that was, I
and
thought,
you're like, yeah, red, like red, and she's like people red hair, and you're like, yeah.
yeah, that's exactly how it went
Oh
down.
my,
And what'd you get? Like strawberry blonde? Like,
I got fucking orange.
nice.
Yeah, that's how it usually goes.
Oh
Even
my
if you wanted to
God,
go
man.
blonde,
right,
sometimes it'll turn out orange, and then now you're just a freak.
So you look like that girl from that
Yes,
movie.
I look like a girl.
No, for that movie with Bruce Willis, you know, in the future, where she's like the
Fifth
girl with the-
Element?
yeah,
Oh,
Fifth
Fifth
Element.
Element. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Can you let's just get a nice little glimpse of that.
I
God.
don't think I've ever seen this.
Oh, come on. Everybody's seen the. Yeah.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Let's just answer some correspondence while we're here.
Yeah.
So who had orange hair? Bruce Willis?
There
Oh,
it
some
is.
chick
There
did.
it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
That looks
Look at Bruce
insane.
Willis.
Yep.
Whoa.
Holla. Put me on the screen, dude.
That is
Nice.
that's real orange.
Yeah, it was.
Was it a good movie?
Yeah, it's
Um,
fucking great.
I think it's
From what I
pretty good.
remember.
Yeah, I watched it when I was like really young.
Same. I remember that alien tripping me out. Whatever the
Yeah,
fuck that is.
A lot of movies back in the day, like if you're you're younger.
Oh, look
and,
at Chris Tucker right
like,
there.
That is
from,
Chris Tucker's like
from,
terrifying.
what
Yeah,
was-
that freaked me
What was
out.
that movie? Wait, Chris Tucker's not from that movie. That's from
Is it?
That's
in Fifth Element.
Yeah, that is Fifth
That's
Element.
Fifth Element?
Yeah.
I thought that was from no, you know what I thought it was? I thought it was that Eddie Murphy movie
Can you smoke
Saving
out of
Pluto
his head?
Nash or no, Pluto The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
Definitely not seen that.
Neither.
Wow.
I don't think anybody should.
Have you guys
Why?
watched any good TV recently?
Recently?
Sorry, that came out weird.
Racing.
Nah. Nah.
Who watches TV anymore?
Yeah,
man?
I've Crave. It's got some HBO, some gems in there, and like,
You been watching Thrones?
so I'm on season 2.
Okay.
So I'm like trying to like binge my way to the top, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that I have lots to watch,
Options, yeah.
but I'm just like dodging spoilers. But for like for Game of Thrones, like I don't really care to be spoiled or whatever. But I
feel like the spoilers mean nothing in Game of Thrones because the story's
Exactly.
so convoluted. You're like,
exactly.
I don't even have any clue what this means,
Like,
and when this scene happens,
and how
it's
that would
gonna still be
happen.
just as surprising.
Yeah, exactly. Like that show is just so like there's just so many things going on that
Right.
like even if one thing is spoiled, something else is gonna spark your interest a little bit more. So, but I'm trying to finish True Detective season 2. I don't know if you guys ever watched that. HBO's really good show. Like the first season's got Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey, and
Matthew McConaughey.
yeah.
Cool.
Pretty good. But it's only for like the first season. Each season has different actors and actresses and stuff.
Awesome.
Who's in the second one?
Vince Vaughn, Rachel McAdams, Colin
Ooh.
Farrell, and a bunch of other actors that I can't name off right now.
I gotta check that shit out.
Mm,
Yeah.
I was just curious because I got devastated by this show yesterday. So probably once a month I take like a little stroll through Netflix, and I mostly just watch trailers and then end up leaving without watching like a damn thing.
There you go.
But I decided to put on a show yesterday. It's like this new sketch show comedy, and I think it's like written and directed by Andy Samberg and like his partner from The Lonely Island.
Oh,
It
you
was
already
one of the
know.
most
You
awful
already know
things
what
I've
kind
ever
of thing.
seen. Well, because I saw like Tim Heidecker was in the trailer, so I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be like that Tim and Eric like kind of like funny, like
Yeah.
that weird funny,
Yeah.
and it was just fucking trash.
Is it new?
Oh.
Yeah, it looked like it had just come out like this
Ugh.
week.
Yeah, they got some things like that in Netflix where you're just like, what?
Yeah.
is this?
Well, it was odd because like some of the jokes were like funny, but then they like dragged them out for like 10 minutes, and then it became like a hideous car crash, and it's like, why didn't you just stop?
Maybe that's like the niche.
Yeah,
Just
that's
taking a
the
joke and driving
itself.
it to
Yeah.
for you to stop watching.
Yeah, it gave me a disease for sure. Music stuff. You wanna get back to it? I think we veered off.
Yeah.
For,
No, I
Went
don't
from
know.
Spritz up to Fifth Element to
Pib.
Pib.
yeah, the Dr. Pibb. So
Holy shit, we did go off pretty hard there.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to go, though.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I want to know about your tour with Era. I'm a huge fucking fan.
Oh yes, yes.
Massive Era stan. Was that dope?
Oh, it was a good time, and it was with Phineas as well. Honestly, it was just a awesome group of guys, all doing the same thing. Like good crowds. Went to California. It was a good time, and honestly, Era they were really inspiring to us because they're kind of in that same lane, and I think they were just getting like into that zone where people were really starting to like get to know them and like get to hear their music because I feel like they've been in like other people's shadows for a long time.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
They've been a band for so long and they were just not getting the amount of exposure that I felt like they deserved. But then they actually started picking up around that time when they were headlining that, and like the crowd showed that like some really loyal fans for them, and yeah, they were just awesome to be on the road with them. You know?
Yeah, they're like this weird special band for me and you guys as well that I'll listen to your whole records on my workout playlist, and only a select few bands get the right to go on those playlists because it just keeps the energy level like right where it needs to be. So
Yeah.
you guys get that honor as well as Era.
Sweet.
made
I'm
it.
glad to be
Just the big
to make
time.
it on with Era, and yeah, they're they're awesome.
Cool.
They're awesome.
Cool.
Dudes.
I think Ian had a question about you guys like kind of being around the scene like back in the day and sort of like seeing it evolve and stuff. Do you want to flesh that out a little more?
Yeah, I mean, like,
Flesh it.
Oh, I'll flesh it hard. With the scene kind of like growing, and you guys have been around and like been the same kind of entity since like the early days. Did you feel like, I don't know, that with things kind of changing and kind of growing, that you were also kind of wanting to like adapt to that, or I don't know, have you guys kind of like kept in the same kind of headspace that you've always been like, have you guys always had the same vision, like going from initially and then like letting it kind of grow, or are you like, I'm not saying going with the times, but you know what I mean, it's like, oh cool, there's this thing I didn't know that would sound sick, like I want to try this out, like let's say like, you know, like clean vocals or whatever.
So are you referring to like the local scene, or are you just talking about just like the growth of like metal music and
I guess kind of both. I don't know, like the local scene too, I guess, since it's kind of like started out here really strong.
Yeah, like the local scene is kind of what kind of gets bands motivated, right? Like you do shows and your friends and family come out, and you know you network within your local scene, and you get to know people, musicians, and kind of get inspired by other people doing the same thing. For me, like I feel like obviously the local scene has kind of dipped down a little bit, but with Kyle coming back in, being the scene dad, he's definitely picking it up again. So like shout out to him.
Yeah.
But like we started out when it was like local shows were like the thing. Like if you wanted people to hear you, Arc Battle, Schwaben Club. I even remember Z Beside the Y back in Cambridge. Like that was a huge one too.
Albert McCormick.
Yeah, like it was just always like a good place to start. But obviously, like, you know, as more like as the music scene kind of changed, you as a musician in a band, you kind of want to look a different direction as to what you, at the end of the day, what do you want? And really, we just want people to hear us outside of the local scene. Like that was always the vision. Like I feel like that's just really healthy to do and to aim for, because the local scene will only do so much for you. I think just branching out to even like Toronto or even beyond Ontario is like what you should really, you know, aim to cater to as well.
Yeah, it's really fortunate that we kind of live in this Tri-City area, which is pretty close to Toronto, but like
exactly
not too close where you can kind of get lost in the I don't know.
Like,
yeah, because sometimes if you're like in Toronto, you can kind of just get like lost in multiple scenes and you feel like you don't have an identity or something.
Yeah, I feel like if you're dope here, like you're gonna get fans. Like just for being dope and playing in for smaller crowds around here.
Mm-hmm.
But then it kind of spider webs out. So you go to play shows in Toronto, it's not that far for people from Kitchener or Cambridge or Guelph to like travel out there. So then you get a couple people, be it fucking one person or 10 people or 20 people that come out to a show for you guys in Toronto, and they start losing their shit, and then like the locals there go, oh, these guys are pretty dope, people are having fucking fun, and suddenly you just gain a bunch of other fans in a whole like another region.
It's interesting because Kitchener-Waterloo is a small community of like people that listen to like heavier music and post-hardcore music, but it covers so much ground. Like there's Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo, like there's so many places, Guelph,
Hamilton.
and like you said, it just, you know, it kind of just spreads out into like other areas and like kind of overflows. But the community is so small, so there's just so much more loyalty and just more people. Like I feel like people go to the local shows to see their friends and like see their own friends play music, and it just kind of brings that whole community together. Versus like if you were to start in Toronto, like where do you start? There's so many venues.
Yeah.
You can't have a choose your own fest. You can't have a Hope Fest.
No, you can't.
Right.
You can't put a Facebook group and send it out and be like, yo, let's make this choose your own fest. You know what I mean? Like there's just so many different areas, and the community is way bigger and the circle's way bigger, and it's very convoluted with with music. And like I feel like here in Kitchener-Waterloo, they specialize in post-hardcore and punk and metal and stuff, where I think like Toronto, you'll probably get like folk bands, you'll get like dad rock, you'll get you know metal, and I don't know, it's just a lot harder in that sense with a community like that versus here where everyone's so close to home, but it covers so much
ground. It was really interesting at the 420 festival where we got to see, so at night school they would have like a hardcore act go on, and then on the side stage they were having like a hip hop act pop on, and it was really cool to see like a bunch of the fucking metalheads like wearing their patched out jackets and fucking studs and everything, like migrating over to the side stage and like enjoying some other music that they might not have normally like stumbled across.
No, I think the scene here is very open-minded. I think that's like a big thing. Like I feel like in Toronto, you like what you like and you go to what you want to see.
Right.
Where here, you know, there's just such a good variety of music that you're actually in it for just the show and the performance and the community of it. So
you pretty much said it.
You know what I mean?
Right
like I feel like you'll go watch this punk band. You never heard of them before, but you're gonna check it out anyway because they're playing at the Schwaben, or like even just Maxwell's. Like it's just such a good place to. Yeah. It's a good venue. Like first time like we actually have a legit good venue at Kitchener-Waterloo, and I feel like people just go there for that experience. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Doesn't smell weird. Like there's actual proper bathrooms.
Yo, speaking of smelling weird,
sick.
So, we had this band on a couple weeks ago called the Faps, and they just went and like did this other podcast.
The Faps.
The Faps, yeah, they're from Saskatchewan, and they were talking about their show at Harmony Lunch, and. They're like, yo, we played at this fucking wicked hot dog stand. They're like, it's kind of weird. It wasn't really our thing. Lots of really hardcore bands, but it was a dope hot dog stand. And I just fucking lost it, man. I thought that was the funniest shit I ever heard.
Yeah, but Harmony's been getting crazy shows now. And like the consistency of people showing up to them is like, it's like 10 years ago. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good location too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're right uptown.
Yeah.
You know, you can be like out and about and you're like, yeah, let's just go check out Harmony Lunch. Like walk in. It's not like way out there like Hespler, like the 515 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool because like you'll see like foot traffic kind of going by and people are like looking in. They're like, what the fuck is going on in there? That's loud as shit.
Yeah.
Let's check it out for 5 minutes.
Why not? Yeah. Like if you want to leave, you can leave.
Yeah.
But like people just go and they stumble in and it's a good spot.
How is the scene in Cambridge?
Cambridge?
Yeah.
I mean... I don't really.
I
don't know. Like,
yeah,
I mean, there really hasn't been one since like the 515.
Yeah.
Kind of stopped doing shows, and
damn, it's a shame.
It is because I mean I'm from Cambridge, and I had a decent community of like friends and stuff like that would always come out to our shows in Cambridge.
I think that's where I first saw you guys was at the 515. I think somebody down here was like, yo, you got to check these guys out. Fucking auras.
And it's crazy. But I feel like people are like leaving Cambridge and going other places, either Waterloo, whatever, like kind of getting out of that. And, you know, there really isn't much of a scene. Like I haven't heard of a metal show in Cambridge in a while.
Right.
Or even an alternative show. I can't even think of anything.
I guess it really takes somebody to like want to like take that torch, like what Kyle's doing down here. Like he basically had said like he stumbled into the position, like he didn't necessarily want it to like go the direction it has taken, but somebody basically passed the torch on to him, and he's like, if I don't do it, nobody's gonna fucking do it. So
and it's really good of him to do that. You know what I mean?
Hell
like,
yeah,
it's not an easy market.
Nope.
To like, you know, do shows for alternative bands, especially like right now. Like I think it would have been a lot easier back in the day when like local shows was like the only way you can get someone's music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But now you just go on your phone that does everything for you. Like, you know, it just becomes a part of you where you're like, I don't really have time to go to a show. Like, I'll just listen to it in my car.
Right.
Because you could do that now. You couldn't do that before. You had to physically go somewhere to get the CD and to get the merch. But now you could do online shopping. You could do pre-order packages. When did you ever have that at like a local show?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like
I think we're kind of seeing a turning of the tides though now, because like so many local bands have their music out on streaming platforms and shit.
Right.
Where you're listening to a bunch of local bands, where before it was like maybe like one or two of the bands that are getting a little bit bigger had their music available.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're listening to a lot more, and I'm going, oh, like all these dudes are playing together like 2 Saturdays from now. I gotta go check that out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all about the package now.
Yeah.
So if Kyle finds a good package, it sounds funny.
Kyle is the good package.
He's got a good package. So if you find a good, like that's an easier thing to market, right?
Yeah.
Like I just saw online North Lane Era, Currents, and Crystal Lake.
Yep.
That package.
Did you hear that new North Lane?
Huge. Yeah.
It's
I
it's.
Would you guys like it?
I do.
I thought it was dope.
It was really honest.
It's dark.
It's really honest.
And again, it's fresh. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that caught my attention as soon as I heard it, and I was like, wow, he's like the vocalist is doing something different. The instrumentation is a completely different realm, but it's still them.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, awesome.
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
definitely like a super different kind of tone. Like,
Yeah,
well,
dark as
I was
shit.
saying to Ian, like, I just heard it for the first time maybe 20 minutes before you showed up, but he put it on, and within like 6 seconds, there's just like this really driving bass force at the
Yeah.
beginning. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, I like this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, the
I don't.
different
It doesn't even
structures
matter
being
what.
playing bass. Which is
Yeah,
sick.
yeah, exactly. I saw
Yeah.
that. That's awesome. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, good for him. And the North Lane boys are doing really well, and they've been around the scene for a while. They've played here way back in the day. I remember was it Opus? Was it Koi Fest, or was it some sort of?
They played at the gig. and
Okay,
they
yep,
played
they did
with,
that.
I think it was with Veil of Maya and Intervals, or the Contortionist, one of those two.
Mhm.
And then, right. And then it was,
Is that for Breakdown?
yeah.
Breakdown
Wow,
magazine.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they played at Maxwell's. Yeah, they played at Maxwell's, didn't they?
Mhm.
Sounds about right.
I mean, I can imagine them playing there.
Yeah.
No, it was with Intervals because Nathan was there. Yep, it
Yeah.
was at Maxwell's. Yeah,
Okay.
Speaking of protest, you guys got to tour with Protest as well.
we got.
How
to
wild
tour
was
with-
that?
It was
Because those are like
Yeah.
the guys, right?
It's-
Like
And when
those
we're
are
so
like the
close,
local
you, like,
heroes.
see that come up, and then
Yeah.
you're like, wow.
It's
kinda-
so weird. It is.
yeah.
It is still. It's still weird to me that happened, because they're like, to me, they're like legends when it comes to like
Yeah,
local scene.
Me too, for sure.
and Canadian music, and like being a part of that community, right? And they've been through so much, and they've been a band for so long, and
Yeah.
they've been killing it on a Juno, and that tour, like we got the offer, and we're like, yeah, absolutely, we're gonna do this. But then like getting close to like the first day, we're like, wait, is this Protest the hero? Like, what's going on? And like, I still remember the first day. Like, everybody's got first show jitters on a tour, so like we started. It was at the Vogue in Vancouver.
Oh, I love that place.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And it was like probably one of the first venues where like each band had their own green room, and they had like snacks and stuff, and like it like
Nice.
separated the bands. Usually you break the ice because you're all sharing the same green room, right? But we
Yeah.
were all separated. And I
Huh.
just remember walking by, and I just see all of Protest just like together, just talking about the show, and I'm like walking by, I'm like, whoa, like this is actually crazy to me, because like my younger self is screaming, being like, what the hell, you're touring with Protest? But like,
Jeez.
at the end of the day, they're just dudes. But I don't know, it's that nostalgia, and like, that
I'm right there with you. Like
that
we're
younger
all around the
self.
same age, so like I
Yeah.
remember hearing like Blindfolds Aside, and like
right,
that shit
much music,
blew
Much loud.
Yeah,
Much
yeah,
loud.
much loud, and
And
that
I've
shit
seen that.
blew my mind.
I
Like
know,
these fucking Canadian dudes are getting this extremely progressive,
yeah.
like metal and like punk influenced music like out into the mainstream, and I'm
Smorgasbord
just
of
like, what?
like
Yeah.
craziness, right? Like no one's ever done that before, and just going there and playing with them was it was inspiring and amazing. And then
Yeah.
like you actually so the first show, we didn't talk to them, they didn't talk with us, so we're like, oh man, like
How
They
we
were
break the
fucking with
ice.
you for
Yeah.
sure.
no, I honestly, so then the next day, I still remember this. Rody just walks up. He's like, "Hey man, I'm Rody." Like, and I was just like, "Hey, I'm Josh." And like I was just like, "Oh man, I can't." What? He just came up, and like turns out these guys are just the coolest, most humble dudes
Hell yeah.
on the planet, and like they don't realize like what it means to me
Sure.
to play with them. So it was pretty cool. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was just a good run. It was a tough run because it was only 9 shows across Canada. So like in between each shows, you're driving
Holy
like 8
fuck.
hours, right?
That's crazy.
Yeah, like I even remember. So after Vogue, we were either gonna stay in a hotel and then leave in the morning to get to. It was somewhere that was like 8 hours away. I can't remember at the top of my head. But there was supposed to be a bad storm, So we actually did not stay at the hotel. We're like, we need to drive through the night because the storm is going to fuck us. So we ended up driving overnight, and then it turns out we were driving with a storm. It was a scary time, but we made it. But yeah, like things like that, like those kinds of drives were just so strenuous in between the shows, intense, because like they have a bus, right? So like they're built to do it. They have a driver that's going to do it. You know what I mean? It was us driving,
taking shifts and stuff like
exactly.
that.
So we really had to like really budget our time properly. Like we didn't sleep much. Like we just basically followed this tour bus. Versus like, you know, Era, you know, everything's like within 4-5 hours, which is nothing, right? So, and there's no snow.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, driving across Canada in the winter was just tough.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
But we made it happen. You know, it was an honor to play with those guys, and we would do anything to do it again. And if they were like, "Oh, do you want to tour with us again? Same winter, same, you know, van and driving," I would do it. Yeah, for sure.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, I caught Rhodey at one of the last Koi Fests that they performed at, and I think
the last. No wait.
Was it the last year?
No, it wasn't.
I think there was 1 year after.
Yeah.
Was that what it was? Yeah,
it?
That was the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, some weird, weird contorted version of Koi Fest. But yeah, like so, Protest played. Another group from Toronto, USS, fucking went up.
Oh yeah.
They did their set, and I like Rhodey was just like kind of walking around in the crowd, and I'm like, "Hey man, like you guys fucking killed it. I've loved your music forever. Thanks for doing what you do." And he's like, "Hey man, I just got this fucking vape pen. Do you want a hit of it?"
That's oh man, that's Rhodey for sure.
And I'm just like, oh, this is like just a real Canadian dude. Like,
yeah,
this is just
they're
like
so Canadian. It's ridiculous. Like how nice they are.
Yeah.
Like they're just so polite. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm like, man, I'm an asshole. Oh my god, you guys are so nice. You're so Canadian. Like I can imagine you touring with like American bands and them looking and be like, yeah, that's a Canadian band.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
definitely,
Like,
definitely.
And I bet everybody can tell.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Oh,
guys are
for
too
sure.
nice. Are you
Yeah.
guys from Canada?
Like too nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're coming up on like the final few minutes here.
Yep.
Is there anything else you want to like quickly
Plug.
go over,
Yeah.
talk about?
Yeah. So Mementa's out on all streaming platforms. Album out July 12th. Binary Garden. I'm really excited for everyone to hear what we've been working on for this.
The pre-save is out for that,
Yeah,
right?
save it on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, whatever you prefer. We got pre-order bundles as well. The merch actually turned out really,
It looks
really
fantastic.
cool. I say to myself, is it weird if I ever wear this? But everyone says it's fine. Do it. Like it looks like it's pretty sweet. And just excited for everyone to hear the rest of the album and
Hell yeah.
whatever else is coming up in the next bit. So.
Oh.
Cool. Maybe when the record drops, before you guys fucking take off on your world domination tour, maybe we could get all you guys in here to come chat.
Oh,
for a quick
100%.
sec.
I actually tried to get the other guys to come in, but they wouldn't be able to make it for 6.
Right.
But
No worries.
next time.
Yeah, we
for
can try to
sure.
set something up.
Had a great
That'd
time.
be sweet.
So.
Where can we find you on the social medias?
Oh man, this is Instagram. I think it's auras_official on the Instagram, Facebook. I think Instagram's like is the big plug for us. Like Facebook is cool, but there's just a lot of stuff that happens on Facebook. It's not as focused.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's just you'll be scrolling through and you'll just be like, oh, like my sister just had a baby, and then Aura's merch. You're like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
you're not really in the same mindset. So like go out to our Instagram. I'm always on there, just posting on stuff and.
Dope.
Cool.
Well, thanks for coming out, man.
No,
We
thanks for having me.
appreciate
I
it.
had a great time.
Problem.
Okay, guys. We have a little announcement. So are we running the Saturday show live?
I think so.
That? Okay. So
hope so.
Saturday, somewhere around 5 to 6 o'clock, we're being joined by Tennyson King.
Yo.
He's this folky artist who bounces back and forth between China and Canada. So we're gonna get a really cool and interesting conversation going, hopefully. And he's gonna be playing at Harmony Lunch later that evening, and HMV out in Waterloo. Is that the record
I
store?
thought he said the beat goes on.
Oh, the beat goes on. Right.
HMV is dead.
I was
Yeah.
like, is there an HMV? I was like, man.
Yeah, okay. The beat goes on out in Waterloo. He'll be playing there. I believe his set starts at about noon or 1 o'clock. We'll post some links up on social media so you guys can find that shit. Yeah, cool. So check that out. Peace.
Peace.
See ya.